Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show today. This is Night Owls for the, I don't know, something of June 14th, I guess. Welcome. We definitely got a bunch of things to talk about today. Glad to have you with us. Let me just go over here real quick to the channel, and please do us a favor of hitting the share button and liking, so we can get some more people in here, and letting them know. Occasionally, the notifications go out. And often they don't. So, but we definitely appreciate you guys coming here and being part of it. Let me do this real quick. Today we do got a bunch of stuff going on. There's quite a bit of news. Of course, we do know that the pre E3 is in place. The Summer Fest there. I can't remember that dude's name, but there are some video game news coming out. Unfortunately, so far, I haven't seen very much, although the Xbox One had just taken place, so maybe there's something interesting there. We'll take a look at something I saw in there I thought was interesting. Anyway, here we go. Join us live. All right, very nice. But I see Roger's over there. How you doing, Roger? And let me go over here and grab this. An awesome game. Well, toe of them if they want to talk about them. Okay. Well, I haven't seen much actually that's interested me. Let me bring this back over this side. Uh, so far, but we'll see. I usually wait for E3 to be honest with you, because this Summerfest thing usually just kind of gives us a little preview. They don't drop anything really big, but we'll have to see. The E3 is coming soon. We did lose it last year, but I guess it will be online this year, just like Summerfest was. What's his name? Healy? Is that the name of the guy who does the Summerfest stuff? He does a lot of the video game stuff. He kind of pushed himself into the industry, didn't he? Hey, Dave. Blood Hunt and the game by Arcade Studios. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to check it all out, Roger. I just haven't looked at it yet. Like I said, I usually kind of just wait to E3, so I haven't been jumping on top of it. But of course, I'm interested to see what is coming out, and maybe tomorrow I'll have more information regarding the Xbox One. I'll watch it today, and we'll see if there's something really interesting in there. However, I do got a bunch of other things to talk about, so I will get into those things momentarily. Hopefully, we'll have a co-host show up here sooner than later. But how are you guys doing? How was your weekend? Mine was pretty slow. I didn't do much. I did take a ride up to the city, did a little shopping, but not much of one. I know things are starting to quiet down here. All the places we go shopping are very, very busy now, which is good. Everybody and their brother is still wearing damn mask. I'm like the only one walking around without one, unless the store particularly has a sign asks me to wear one. I will. But yeah, goodness gracious. So let me see here. Let me go over the other side real quick. See if I have anybody who's going to be jumping in here. I don't see anybody. Alrighty. So I guess I'll just go ahead and start getting into it. All right. So let's do this. Bring this up. Let me do this real quick. And alrighty then. All right. So as I said, I was taking a look at it, Roger, but let me go ahead and bring it up. And we'll start talking about that directly. Here is the, the thing. I'll start out with this real quick. I won't play any of the volume because we know how they are. But I did think that I did thought that this one here is very interesting. What's this guy's name again? I think it's Healy, right? You guys help me out with that. What? Dave says he got the Death of Superman graphic novel for $2.99 at Ollie's. Sweet dude. I think there's no E3 anymore. It's just digital events, and I can hear that Sony doesn't have an event this year, but it could be wrong. No, I'd heard the same. Excuse me. But we know Sony is well. Sony's in the bin, guys. I mean, it is. The Japanese are looking to break that up and sell it. Some of the speculations we had here before regarding Activision or someone else picking up is are probably very likely. Uh, so you know, I don't know what that means, Kronos. Jeff Keighley, that's right. I was close. I knew it was a Ely sound. But this guy, I don't know what to make of him, to be honest. I mean, in some ways, I give him props because he literally pushed his way into the industry. But he's also like Mr. Ultra Corporate now, so I don't know what to think. But whatever. Good on him. I want to play this right here. Take a look at what just this little piece I saw. I thought was interesting. He's just kind of going on and talking and presenting the trailers is what he's doing. And this one coming up, I thought was kind of interesting here. So you guys have probably seen this. I haven't watched the whole thing. I just kind of jumped through it real quick, seeing if I saw something interesting. And this caught my eye. Right here. He's taking his playing good time getting to it. What are you doing here? All right, here we go. It's coming from PlayStation, and you would think they would have something at E3 for this, but take a look at this, man. All right, this is was this the Death Stranding thing again? Oh yeah, sorry, this isn't what I want. I wanted this one right here. I apologize. All right, here we go. Now, take a look at this. This is your Guardians. Now, we know right well that Disney owns the rights to all their movies, right? Including the Guardians of the Galaxies. But yet they keep refusing to use their likenesses, just like the Avenger game that came out. They're not using the likenesses. So this doesn't look anything at all like the Guardians that the most people know. Again, just like the Avenger thing they did. So what's going on with that? Anybody have an idea? It looks kind of fun though, but it looks very similar to that Avenger game that came out. It's like they kind of cut and paste in a way, is what it looks like. But it could be fun. A Guardians of the Galaxy game could be fun. I just don't understand why the likenesses are so different. And look how little they made him. Gamora is a freaking giant. Now, is that true in the comic? I don't know. She's such a minor character. They made her important though. But what do you guys think about this? Why is this? Let me go over and see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Originally 14.99, and I had a 50% off coupon. Nice, Dave. Uh, he's a dipshit, that guy. Yeah, he's just a suit. Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Um, he started on an independent gaming channel called G4. Yeah, no, I remembered him, dude. That's what I said. He kind of pushed his way into the industry, and he's clearly a hard worker. So I kind of have a little respect for that, but I understand he's a suit, dude. I understand that. Let's see. Fuck the Oscars. All right, of course.
I agree.
Good
Yeah.
old Dorito people. Of course, Thundero. Um, for a while, he hosted game trailers. Yeah, no, I know he did, dude. I just forgot his name offhand, but I don't know. What do you think about Jeff Healy, dude?
I think he is mostly a pretentious word I'm not allowed to say on YouTube anymore.
Okay.
But but in that same vein, as far as like on a personal level, um, professionally, he's got hustle.
Yeah,
He
and he's
made
got
himself basically the face of video games for years.
he did.
Can't hate that. Can't hate him for it.
No, that's my point. I kind of respect it in that way because
Yeah.
he did get out there and get it done, man.
Yep.
Um,
And
so
for the most part, he is a good representative. And when certain companies have been mistreating people and things, like employees or whatever, he does speak out about it, which I do respect him for that. But he just comes off to me as just somebody I would not get along with in person.
well,
Like,
no,
just there'd be definite clashes of personality there.
no, I think so. The whole suit image, he gets that a lot. I'm not so quick to throw him completely under the bus because, like I said, I remember when I first saw him and how much he's pushed himself in, and
Yeah,
that's a lot of work, man. Good on you. And he's
yeah.
taken a
No, he's
lot of
worked
shit
hard,
over the years.
and like I said, he's been a very good face for the industry when they needed him to be. We've had other people try to be, and they've been either what's the word I'm looking for? Too stereotypical. That's a good word. It's a good way to put it. Or they've been insufferable outside of there. And from what I understand, he's for most people anyway, at least in the industry, I haven't seen too many people say terrible things about him. Maybe just that they annoy him, but other than that, nothing terrible. So
Yeah.
I just can read a person pretty well, and I'm just like, unless he throws some curveballs at me, me and this guy wouldn't get along.
No, I think he he looks like a cleaner version of a barfly. Is what he
Yeah.
kind of comes off to me as being. But whatever. The question I really had, or the reason I showed that particular clip, Roger had asked if I was going to talk about it. I've seen a couple of things. I haven't watched this. I'm going to watch this whole thing though,
Yeah.
because Xbox is dropping 40 games, right? So I'm
Ooh.
definitely going to watch this and check it out.
Now, are
It
they 40 games for the Xbox only, or are they 40 games for the PC and the Xbox? Because I know they do both usually.
I'd imagine they're for PC as well. Yeah, everything
Okay.
is moving that way, particularly with Xbox. PlayStation is being a little sluggish in that regard. Although I think things, as we've spoken before, are going to change a lot for PlayStation. There's huge things coming for PlayStation, but Xbox would rather everything be on their PC Live, their Xbox Live.
Mm,
It seems they really want to go that way. They want to get away from the consoles, and I don't blame them for that, to be honest with you.
yeah.
But I'm going to check this whole thing out. Watch the entire 5 hours, and I will check it out. But I saw that one thing in there, just kind of clipping through, seeing, looking at trailers, and now, and I understand that Sony doesn't own the Guardians of the Galaxy guys. I get that, just like the other company that made the Avenger game. But the thing is, Disney is selling or leasing the IP to them to make the game, right? I mean,
Hmm.
that's what's going on. So why in the world would that IP license not be tagged with the faces and identities that people recognize? Now, as comic book people, we don't really care as much, right? Because
Right.
they don't these movie Hollywood people are not always exactly what we have seen before. But
Hmm.
the thing is, we understand that the public itself is more important in that regard than us, right?
Right.
And Peter Quill is played by whatever his name is, Bubba
Chris
there.
Pratt.
Yeah, yeah. Chris Pratt. And people recognize him very clearly. So why would that not come with the IP? I don't understand. It's odd. It's weird. If Disney's going to be such dickheads about it, then why
Oh, they
even
are.
lease out the IP at all?
Well, I think it's still under, unless they've renegotiated, which I know they've done a couple times, but I think it's still under their original contract they had with Marvel before Disney bought them.
Oh,
And
really?
Sony had the rights to basically all that stuff, and they've never lost it because they keep using it.
Ah,
And then when they started to lose some of it, like the Spider-Man stuff, when they wanted to use Spider-Man in the MCU, they made new arrangements. I don't know all the details of it. Most people, probably nobody does, besides the two companies. And that could be part of it, or it could just be something as simple as Chris Pratt said he doesn't want his face in the game, and there you go. It's not in the game. He controls that. He can control that usually, especially an actor of his caliber. He's one of the biggest there is right now.
mhm.
He probably could say no to that. I don't think he would, but it's very possible one of his legal people did for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Well,
And yeah,
yeah.
that's the kind of it's all stupid. Like for a long time, Michael Jordan wouldn't let him use his name or anything in a game. They could use the number because obviously, but they couldn't use his name. They couldn't use his likeness. Nothing for years. He wouldn't let people do that. And then for whatever reason, I'm assuming they threw a bunch of money at him. They eventually got him. But yeah, the actor or the player or the whoever who owns their likeness, which I would assume Pratt owns his own likeness,
Yeah.
has control of that. And sometimes they just say no because the money's not right, or they say no just because they don't want to go that direction for whatever reason.
Right.
And it could just be as simple as that.
Well, I understand that, and Kronos is here making statements regarding clauses in actors' contracts. Fine, well enough. However, it's kind of like You know how you're getting ready, you see a movie's coming out, you're kind of watching trailers, you're seeing if you're going to get excited about it, and then the various actors and directors start saying "bad white people, bad,"
Yeah,
that kind of stuff,
yeah,
and
hmm
then you're like "fuck you" and "fuck your film" and "fuck off" and all that kind of other
yeah.
vulgarity. Yeah, uh,
Just general in your general direction,
in your
basically.
general
Just
direction, exactly.
yeah.
Well, when I see a trailer and Star Lord not only doesn't look like Chris Pratt, he doesn't look like the comic book Star Lord either. He's just some blonde beach bro. Um, it kind of has a similar effect.
Yeah,
So I don't know what to tell you, but I thought that was weird. Although it could be fun. But looking at that trailer, it really looks like they took the other game, the Avenger game they made, and just kind of put a new skin on it. It almost looks like.
yeah.
So I don't know what's going on, and we know how
Which
horribly that game bombed too. That game just absolutely
yeah,
bombed too.
it didn't. It must have done well enough, because they're making more apparently. But man, I don't, dude. We didn't need the first one. What we need, if you're gonna make a game set in the Marvel universe, is a actual RPG, multiplayer RPG, which they gave you, by the way. That it did have that, but one where you can make your own character.
Yep,
Like that's what we need. We don't even need
yep,
necessarily a full MMO. Just something where I can make a dude and go play with my buddies and go beat up stuff. Why is
yeah.
that so hard? Why
I
is
don't
that so
know.
hard?
I don't know why. I know it must be easier for them to when it comes to creating skins and how they interact and kind of taking away your control of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably something to do with that. But they've been doing this forever, allowing you to create your own character. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're going to sit down and do an RPG, whether it be fantasy or superhero, it's kind of tradition in that field that you be able to do that. But Marvel always refuses to allow you. You have to play their IP. They don't want you
Yep.
playing your own character, and it's dumb. It's dumb.
It is dumb,
Um,
especially when you have X-Men sitting right there. You can just make a mutant, and he has mute whatever powers because he's
yep,
a mutant. They can have any power at all. You have all these different origin stories, all of which could be expanded, or most of them could be expanded to. Oh, this person did that too, so bam!
yeah,
Now you have Spider-Man's powers. There's just plenty of ways you can make it make enough sense that you can play the game and not be completely, burst in your own bubble with immersion. But it it's really stupid. Like you were saying, it's really dumb because it's money just sitting on the table. Because here's what they can do: they give you, like DC Universe Online does. They give you enough tools to make your guy,
yep,
and then as you level up, you get more appearances and whatever. But they also sell them in
yep,
packs, and they sell them, just straight up. You can just buy some stuff, or you can buy currency, in-game currency, not like the money, but like there's other currencies that you can then use that currency to buy skins or appearances or whatever you want to call it. That's the way you monetize it. And most DCU players, and I've played it many times, have no problem with it because
yeah,
it's completely optional. It's completely up to you whenever you want to spend it, if you do want to spend it. And there's also ways of earning it just by grinding in the game if you really don't want to spend the money or you can't afford it.
yeah.
So
No, no, absolutely. And
there's ways to monetize this and allow us to make our own characters with power sets or whatever, and just let us have fun in the Marvel universe.
yep,
That's the game that should be made. That's the game that I think every single comic nerd, whether they're a movie comic nerd or a comic book nerd, would love to play.
yeah,
Where they get to just make their own Marvel hero and hey, there's Iron Man. I'm going to go help him. Something like that.
yeah. No, and so many other companies have done that, including
Yep.
DC. But if you remember, they had Marvel Online with Gazillion, and I followed and was part of that from the very beginning. It changed so many times, but you know what never did change during the whole life of that? The fact that you
Mm.
could make your own character,
Yes, I don't
right?
understand
Yeah.
why this is such a sticking point
I don't know. They
for
they
Marvel. I
they
don't get
they
it.
well, the thing is they don't get a lot, don't they? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
clearly.
They
And we're
seem
going
to.
yeah, and we're going to learn that today. So, there you go. Maybe after I watch this, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the game stuff tomorrow. But
Mm.
let's get into what I got for today. So usually I'd always start out with board game stuff. Today it's going to be a little shorter because there's no way I can cover this company in 3 hours, let alone 5, 10 minutes. This is Osmodee. Now, Osmodee is a very interesting company to me because I saw the birth of Osmodee, right? I've been doing
Hmm.
board games long enough that I actually remember this company came out of nowhere. And the funny thing is with Asmodee, they're a European company, a French company, I do believe, and they are a French company. And I bet you could never guess what this company did before they got into board games.
No idea. You're
Yeah,
right. I can't.
they owned and operated parking lots.
Hey, hey. They expanded their horizons.
They did, and boy, did they! Because the only company that's would be considered bigger than Asmodee when it comes to board games would be Hasbro. And
Oh,
let's be fair, Hasbro makes a lot of crap, right?
yeah. But they
Uh,
also make a lot of money.
they do. They most certainly do. But this company makes board games, card games, miniature games, role playing games. They have Star Wars IPs, they have Marvel IPs, etc., etc. But I mean, it's ridiculous because what this company did, they didn't come in with the idea of making their own board games because they don't do that. I think they've actually made a few over the years, but in-house stuff. But that's not what they do. What they do is go out and they buy your IP
Hmm.
and they put it under their roof. And these guys are
Right.
freaking gigantic. In a decade, they became literally the biggest thing in board gaming. Because I know I put out the Hasbro thing just as a technical truth, but in the board gaming world, no one talks about Hasbro. Nobody, right?
Right.
Asmodee is the king, and they just came in out of nowhere and just bought themselves into being king. And there's so many damn games here, dude. Let me just kind of clip through the top board and take a look at it. Carcassonne was a good game, by the way. But here we have 15 Men. It's a good game. I don't know all these duels. Seven Wonder. I own that. I love that game. Seven Wonders itself is a great game. But once again, keep in mind they didn't make these things. They bought these things, right? There's 64 pages of board games. That's nice. Okay.
Nice.
They also do card games, and they do own the Star Wars stuff, so they have all that. They also have all the Game of Thrones stuff, and the Game of Thrones game is it's actually plays as a intrigue game. It doesn't not war or combat. It's more of intrigue, courtly intrigue. That's fun. But they have lots of card games. How many pages of that? 32 pages of that. Okay. They do lots of miniature stuff, although I think Fantasy Flight still kind of owns that area mainly.
Hmm.
But here is more Game of Thrones stuff. Some of them are quite nice. There's 27 pages of this. They seem to be kind of just sticking on the Game of Thrones here quite a bit, which I understand why, but they do a lot of other stuff. Let me go to the last page here real quick. So they have Star Wars Legacy stuff, which is a lot of fun. They also have the Armada stuff and various things like that. They also have role playing games. Of course, I'm sure Game of Thrones is going to pop up here. Android, that game actually is pretty good. We have Terranoth, which is a very old board game that they've taken and done quite a bit with, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to sit here, like I said, and try to go through all the games because well, that would be stupid. But if you're looking to get into board games, a very simple place to go start searching is Osmodee. I mean, they kind of have every genre of board game you would want, and they have all the big IPs. Matter of fact, they're becoming so strong, they're starting to kick Fantasy Flight out, and I thought that would never happen. To be honest with you, Fantasy Flight had once again started as a book company making role playing supplements for the third edition OGL, right? And they turned into a mega board game company as well. So anyway, um, good place to go searching. I've been talking about companies here recently, and this is certainly one as part of the conversation. Unfortunately, I know some of you guys can't play board games, but because you don't have, like with Thundera here, you don't really have someone to play it with. But you know, there are your local nerd centers called game shops, and people play them there. If you can
Yeah, there's
stand the
actually a
means to
couple
come out, yeah.
pretty good sized ones around here too. I used to on Facebook. I never really met her or anything, but she was from around here, and we were talking about it. How she would go to those places a long time ago. There's a couple like hobby shops and
Yeah.
game shops.
Well, I actually have one here in the town over the mountain. It's literally the most nerdy Japanese kids you can imagine. It's perfect. Um, Pete Max says, Chester, you ever done any tabletop wargaming? Yes, sir. I've done quite a bit. When I was younger, during my college years, I did a lot of Warhammer, fantasy Warhammer mainly, and we played a little bit of 40K, but mainly we played fantasy. And yeah, I was really into that. Plus, I've done other wargaming stuff. And I own one of the things I actually enjoy buying. I have a whole segment of my collection that is kind of a truncated war games in a box, right? Wargaming is a hobby unto itself that you can spend ridiculous amounts of money and you can fill entire rooms with armies that you've built and painted. But having a miniature wargaming thing in a box that you bring it out with a bunch of friends and play on a table in a night, I like that concept, and I have a bunch of those. Probably the well, it's not really wargame-ish, but the kind of pseudo mix of the two. One of the best is Lords of Hellas, which I really enjoy that game. So it has a little bit of the wargaming in it. But I also own Mythic Battle stuff. I own Joan of Arc, which is a 15 millimeter wargaming uh, role RPG slash board game system. I also have the Batman that came out from Monolith, and that Jesus man. I mean, that's a really good doing of taking a war game and putting it into a box. But you're playing Batman, and you can play all the heroes and have all the villains. It's really cool, dude. And the miniatures are top end, by the way. The problem
Hmm,
is there's like literally 300 miniatures I have to paint. Literally, there's not enough time in the day, Thundero.
that's a lot.
That's a lot, dude. I'm literally 1,000 miniatures back right now, dude. Literally, seriously. I also have the Sword and Sorcery game, which is more of a dungeon delve, but once again, it's kind of like wargaming on the table. Anyway, I didn't want to take too much time, although this Arabian Nights one here, this is a very old game they picked up. Once again, they didn't make any of these games; they just kind of buy other people's IP. However, the Tales of Arabian Nights. This is a fun little narrative game, dude. You have a book, and there's become more and more of these recently. But you have a book, and as you go through and make decisions, you have to read in the book. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure in a board game. And the Arabian Nights is one of the first ones of those that came out. And it's really a lot of fun. This is an old game, but it's still worth buying, guys. Anyway, let's move on here. Let's get into our first bit of story. Go ahead, dude.
Netflix race swaps Albert Wesker in new Resident Evil live action series. Now, before Chester starts, I'm okay with this one. I'll tell you why. Because the dude they picked is one of the best actors in Hollywood. I love Lance Reddick, and I'm okay with it. I think he's going to do fucking spectacular
Uh-huh.
as Wesker. That's the only reason. It's because his skill as an actor is so high that I'm okay with it. It's the
Right.
only reason.
Oh no, I get
If
that.
it was anybody lesser than this level here, than Mr. Reddick, I'm not okay with it. But because he's fantastic, and he genuinely is,
He is.
I'm
I
okay.
like him. Yeah, I like him.
Yep,
He's in a lot of stuff. I remember he was in The Wire. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
yep. He's
Um,
in the John Wick movies. He's in a lot of stuff. He
you know,
plays
he
the
is.
what do they call? I can't remember what his actual title is, but basically he's the front man for the Continental. But I can't remember what they call that. But that's what his job is, and he's fantastic.
He is. He's a great actor. I have no trouble with him whatsoever. I
No,
think, boy, you couldn't get any different looking than Wesker than him, though.
yeah, he
Uh,
doesn't quite have the aesthetic, but if they put the glasses on him and maybe a wig,
well, see,
they
the
might be
thing,
able to pull it off.
Wesker's always had that kind of alien look because he's kind of an albino. I mean, he's near albino, and they wanted that stark kind of ghostly look for him. That's the problem with black people playing ghosts. Don't work really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I
Um,
agree. I don't like the tokenist nonsense. I hate it, in fact, as I've been pretty clear.
uh-huh.
But I really like Lance Reddick, and
Yeah.
I think he
So do
will do
I.
a spectacular job as Wesker. It's just It's ridiculous. It needs to stop. Even with great actors, it needs to stop. Let's be
Yeah,
honest, it does. It's insulting,
it
it's
is.
belittling,
Yeah.
and it's not even about like because they're swapping white people out that it even really bugs me because I've been doing that for a long time. It's the fact that they think they're doing something virtuous that bugs me. Right? They
Well,
think they're making some great statement. Oh, we're going to show the racists. And it's like you're not. No, you're not. First of
yeah.
all, because they don't care. The actual racists that you're so afraid of, the 50 guys in Alabama somewhere, uh, those guys don't give a shit about Netflix.
Yeah,
They don't care.
they live in Mississippi. But sorry,
Okay, Mississippi. Sorry, Alabama.
yeah. But that's actually not the problem I have with it. Although I will say it's kind of insulting because he's too good an actor to be made a token. That
Yeah,
is
that's
insulting
true.
unto itself.
That's true.
But that's not
That's
my
true.
problem, actually. You know, look at the damn picture, dude. Look at the damn picture.
Oh, oh no, they're gonna race swap. They're gonna gender swap Leon, aren't they? He's going full on lesbian, black, straight up from the hood girl, isn't he? That's what's gonna happen.
Yep.
Or straight up Latina. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be
This.
Leona. It's not gonna be Leon.
Yep.
You're getting Leona.
And
At
dude,
this point, all I can do is laugh at it because it's absurd. It's absurdity. It's like looking into the void, and eventually it either drives you crazy or you just come to enjoy it. And I've come to the point where I enjoy it. I want to see how far they can go. I want to see how far they push this before eventually it snaps, because eventually it will. And it's already starting to, by the way.
yeah.
There's tons of black people out there now, especially, who are screaming they're tired of it. The Superman one really seemed to be the tipping point because they're like, no, we don't want black Superman. We don't want that. We want Superman to be Superman. And it does seem that the culture's shifting away from it, from what I can tell. I don't know. I'm not in their sphere, but from the outside looking in, it looks like a big anti tokenization push has started.
Oh yeah.
And that's good
That
because
is
that's
good.
all it is. It's
However,
just nonsense tokenization.
let's focus on our rom com here. So first of all, there's nothing here that strikes me with Resident Evil whatsoever.
No,
Secondly, none of these girls are badass. I mean, I
nope.
understand that an actor doesn't need to be actually badass, but they have to sell it, and none of
Yeah,
these girls are selling that for damn sure. Just look at their body language coming off of them, right? And yeah, I mean, damn it, dude.
yep.
I
It's
mean,
just, it's not going to be good. And like you said, it's a shame because Lance is really good. He deserves better.
mhm.
But it's the same with Henry Cavill, right? The Witcher series. He deserved better than that, than
Oh
what was
my
put
God,
around
he
him.
did. Once again,
He was unbelievable
he
as
was.
Geralt. Unbelievable. And just about everything else around him was just mediocre at best.
Yeah,
And
no, no, no.
that's
I agree.
terrible.
And that show should have been called Yennefer anyway.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it probably would have been better because it wouldn't have been all mixed messages. Right? If
yeah,
they would have just had a show about Yen, I think a lot of Witcher fans would have watched that.
sure.
Because Yennefer's a great character. We like Yennefer.
And we
But
hate her. And we hate her.
yeah, yeah. She's that kind of character. She's the kind you love to hate.
And of course, they race swapped her as well. I mean, Jesus, you went from now they don't have now Yennefer doesn't have to be pretty. It's kind of part of the character that she's not actually. But I mean, boy, you went from a scarred blonde to a ugly Indian girl. I mean, what the hell, dude? Is that really where we need to go? But yeah, that was horribly disappointing because every time Henry was on the screen, I was happy. The problem was he wasn't there most of the time
Yeah.
because it wasn't about him. It's just like this He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe anymore. It's the Masters of the Universe. And The
Hmm.
Witcher, which is of course Geralt's story, it's not. It's the world around him,
Yep.
right? And that was a shame. And they keep threatening me that they're going to come back with it. Now, Joshua, I didn't mind the Umbrella Club, but that stuck to its guns. It was what it was supposed to be, right?
Oh, Umbrella Academy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
yeah,
I liked. I didn't watch the second season, I don't think, but I did watch the first one. I liked it a
yeah.
lot.
Now,
Um,
there is a point here that Kronos brings up that I did want to mention with this picture. We have noticed, in my wife and I, and everybody has noticed that they are not putting beautiful people in front of us anymore. Matter of fact, we're getting
nope.
lots of ugly people all the time. right?
Yes.
Perfect thing with Yennefer. I mean, she doesn't have to be pretty though. I mean, let's be honest with that. But here, on the other hand, something else is going on. These are actually pretty girls. Although I will make a statement that you notice that they've gotten to the point that they've removed the white completely. There's not a
Yeah.
single white girl or a white person here at all.
This
They're
is pure
completely gone.
diversity, Chester.
Yes,
That's what it always meant.
yeah.
Always.
But my
See, when
point
we
is,
say it, we just mean, hey, let's throw some other culture in here. That'd be cool. When they say it, they mean get rid of the white people. That's what they mean.
yeah. But I mean,
Obviously.
at least two of these girls are attractive. So
Yeah.
this is different. That's different. But I don't know what they're. Why would you do in Resident Evil and you put up this picture? Someone's really lost the plot.
Hmm.
Thundero. Someone's
And
lost
like
it.
I said, the biggest problem is Lance is probably going to do amazing. He always does, at least everything I've ever seen him in. And everything around him isn't going to be. And he's going to be asked to carry the show, and he probably will, but he'll get no respect for it, and he'll get treated like they treat Henry Cavill, right? They kind of
Yeah,
pretend like he isn't there half the time, uh, which is ridiculous. It's
yeah.
preposterous. And from what I understand, or what I've seen anyway, Lance is a good dude. Like there's a lot of genuinely good men in Hollywood right now, which is strange to me because they work in an evil industry, but they seem to be good people, like Chris Pratt and Mr. Reddick and Cavill and Keanu Reeves. Um, but Lance is generally a good dude, and he deserves a lot better than this.
He
A lot
does.
better than
He
this.
does. Now, I'm going to speculate here 100% just from the photo, if you don't mind. And I'm going to say that I think what this is before the virus comes out. And I think this is going to be about how they found the virus and how it was constructed. And he's going to
Mm,
be working in the lab, and these are going to be all the brilliant scientists to make it happen. I think that's what this is. I don't think this is going to be Resident Evil at all. I think this is before Resident Evil. That's my guess. What do you think about
probably.
that? Yeah, I mean, it's
You're
what it feels
probably
like.
correct. But my question is, are they sure they want to do that? Because are they going to make a bunch of non-white females responsible for the
Oh,
virus?
yeah, no, whether they don't have brains to think that far ahead, dude.
I mean, they are picking a very black man. That's a very black man in
Yeah,
Mr. Reddick for Wesker. So maybe this is what I'm saying. I think some of these dudes I think are just screwing with us because they do things like a good example is the Horizon Zero Dawn game, which was heralded as a great feminist achievement because it had a chick lead. I don't know.
okay.
That was
Yeah,
literally the only reason. But they had two competing societies in this world that we really get to see. One is a matriarchal one, and they live like basically Native Americans, and another was a patriarchal one with a king, and they had a massive empire. And I'm like, do you understand this was a cell phone? Like, it's
yeah.
supposed to be post-apocalyptic, and the one led by the man actually built something worth having.
As they usually do. It's kind of what men do there, Thundero. It's our prerogative.
It's
But
like somehow they're subconsciously sabotaging their own nonsense, and they don't even
yeah,
realize it.
well, anyway, I'm picking my favorite right now. I don't need the little head thing on the side, whatever her name is. I don't need the whatever that is. I don't need the Jewish lesbian. The Korean here on the far
What a
left.
shock.
No, I'm not into Koreans, but the little Japanese girl, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay
What a
with that.
shock.
I'm okay with
I'm
that.
stunned. I'm actually stunned and amazed at that selection, Chester.
Thank you, thank you. I know what I
I'm
like.
gonna I'm gonna pass on all of them, and
Yeah,
I'll just go out for a bro date with Lance Reddick. That's
there
what
you
I'll do.
go. There you go.
Yeah, it's
And
way
and
more fun.
he is a great actor, and he has a look because he is very African looking. Most
Yes,
American blacks are not African at all. They're that's why
yes.
we call them
In fact,
blacks,
I
right?
didn't believe his name was Lance Reddick when I first knew that. I was like,
Yeah,
I thought he was from Africa. Like I legitimately did because he has a very that African frame about him. He doesn't have an
yeah,
African American, as they call it, frame. He looks because of some of the first roles I ever saw him in, he was playing an African guy.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just
Well,
thought he was. I
I
thought
think
that's who he was.
he's probably first or second generation is what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. But anyway, let's move on from it because it's just lunacy. Next. Oh, we were just talking about
Oh,
her the other day. You're gonna love this article, by the way.
oh boy. New Loki promo video sees Gugu Mbatha-Raw, that's a name, Judge Renslayer, that's a good name, reap all the rewards for Mobius's work.
Okay, they put a
Renslayer, I
they
like
put a
that.
they put a trailer out for the next episode, I guess. And she's shocking. She's a bitch. Yeah, and
No.
she's taking credit and collecting all the little pieces of evidence. You know how they showed in the box they had like all those Infinity
Hmm.
Stones. Yeah. Well, she collects things from Owen Wilson's. Characters cases, and he asks her why she does that. And she said, well, because I authorized it. And he's like, oh, you win. Yeah.
Okay.
But this child here, this little teeny girl, she worked herself up though. And Owen Wilson
Hmm.
even talked about her character earned it. It's like, okay, so she's going to be more than just a judge, a one-shot character. Lovely, and she's going to be become more important. And she's sitting here talking. My character is so great. I'm so great. And then, of course, they continue. And ooh, there's an action scene. She gets to do an act. She's a judge. This show is a freaking train wreck in the process, dude. It's
It's a shame too, because that first episode was pretty okay. It
with
wasn't terrible.
when Owen came in, fair enough.
Yeah,
But
with Owen and what's his name?
Hiddleston, well,
Hiddle.
when he was interacting with Wilson, he was fine.
Yes,
When he wasn't, it was bad. But anyway,
yes,
this article just goes on to talk about how awesome she is and how ridiculous it is. And of course, do keep in mind that it was speculated, but we do have confirmation now because we know that I didn't say it before because spoilers, but spoiler warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Loki is being hired to because the big problem they're having is with Loki. However,
yes.
the Loki that he will be facing against will be a previous version of himself, the female one.
Hmm.
We knew they were going to find a way to work it in, right?
Yeah.
So there it
Well,
is.
the good news is Hiddleston's actually an EP on this. So unless he's purposely putting himself out of work, I don't think they're going to fully replace him
Oh no,
as
she's the
Loki.
bad guy, but
Yeah.
she's
So
going to
I
be an
don't
understandable
know.
bad guy, right?
Well, of course, because Marvel doesn't know how to make villains. Um, they got two right in the whole MCU, in my opinion, and that was Thanos, who was fantastic, and the other one whose name escapes me. But that's not the point. The other point is, I think the biggest problem that all of these shows have had is they're pointless. They go nowhere. They end up either right where they started, or in a worse situation than they were at the end. There's no real character growth for pretty much all of the characters. There's no real development, or at least not enough that they needed their own series. They could have done this at the beginning of a movie or something and just moved on with their lives. Most of them. I didn't watch all of the Winter Soldier one, but from what I saw, we ended up right where we began, basically. And the what's her name, Scarlet Witch one, WandaVision, that one, it didn't need to happen at all. It was good. It was fine. I mean, it wasn't good, but it was fine. But it wasn't. There was no point to it. We
Yeah.
ended up with her still having no family. I guess Vision's back technically, but all of that could have been done at the first 15 minutes of the movie she's going to be co-starring in. So why did we need a whole series just for
Well,
this?
because we know that originally Doctor Strange was going to play a big part in the series, but they decided they didn't want no man helping her, and they pulled the character out, but they didn't rewrite it. That's why,
Yeah.
right? But
Well,
the thing,
that's my thing though. That's my fear. Is that this series is also going to be pointless. If any of the series, these Marvel Cinematic Universe series, are going to matter, it's going to be this one. And the reason why is because one, Tom, I would assume they want to keep him. He's one of the only star power guys they have left, or quote unquote star power. And two, this version of Loki doesn't exist anymore. At least he's not supposed to. So they can kind of do anything with him, right? There's no real major consequences if they kill him off, if they make him into something else, if he becomes a hero or whatever, because we've already seen the other character's arc, his full arc, which was pretty decent in my opinion. It wasn't really Loki, but the character that they made Loki in the MCU, I think he had a good character arc.
sure. But
Um,
episode 1 of this series ruins everything he did. It tears it all down. Everything.
how so?
Why, by making it making it that it has no purpose or worth. His death, the finality of it was important. Now he's not dead.
Nah,
Here he is.
yeah,
He
I agree.
continues.
I agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah,
the basically bringing him back. But that's a comic book
that's
problem that's been
marketing, is
going
what
on.
that is. Yeah.
That's been going on since comic books have been comic books, though. That's a serious problem. That's, I would say, one of the main reasons why manga is destroying Western comics
Yeah.
is because they do have. I mean, they still do some of that to some degree, but they do have finality in most of their stories. They end, and that's the end. That's just where it ends. But Loki being back, this version of Loki, they hopefully can do something really creative with him. I like Tom. I think he's a good actor. Obviously, Owen is actually very good at this role. I like this take where he's kind of like a counselor. I think he fits that. I think he has that vibe about him that he's a real chill person, so it kind of makes sense. And that the scenes where they interacted together were very good. The whole arc that they had together was very, very well written.
Mhm.
The problem is we've seen good opening episodes of other series, and then it just goes off the rails.
I think it's
So can
already
they?
off the rails, dude.
That's what I'm worried about. I think
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen because the same trope that is annoying Booster, especially I watched it with Booster. That's really annoys Booster with Loki is that he has this trope about him where he comes in all cocky and says something real cocky and something all grandiose, and then he gets slapped down immediately.
Yeah. Which is
And that's
why the
become
character
his whole
fails as a
character.
villain.
Yes. So maybe it'll work with him as an edgier hero protagonist, whatever, or I guess anti-hero, but I hate that term. Maybe it'll work, and maybe it'll humble him and teach him to not be such a braggadocious prick. But
Which is
at the same
fine, I guess.
time,
Yeah.
at the same time, eh, like I'm pretty sure this story is an old Thor story, or at least it's centered around Thor, the original version of the TVA. I think I could be wrong about that.
Well,
And so it makes sense, at least in that regard, that it stays in the family, I guess.
yeah,
But
well, I
I don't know.
I I know where they're going with it. We've talked about it before, and Eric makes a comment that needs to be addressed. But let me build to that answer, Eric. This girl here in this interview reminds me of the girl who played Gamora. I can't
Hmm.
think of her name offhand, but we were watching when the
Yeah, yeah.
first Samjaya, is that her name? That's great. That's a great Indian name. But whatever. When the first Guardians came out, you had all the other actors like, yeah, man, it was fun, man, it was awesome. They were just relaxed, casual, just having a good time because that's what the movie was. But the Gamora actress in her interview was like, I really felt that I was searching for the depth of my character, and she was getting all frickin' Shakespearean theater on it.
It's a
And I
movie
was like,
about space pirates, for Christ's
I
sake.
know, right? It's like, get a grip, girl, get a grip, right? This girl's doing the same thing, same damn thing. And what she doesn't, I feel from the interview and the way she's talking, it's like, oh, this character has so much depth, it's so awesome, and she's going on and on. But then again, we know that they're they're going with the timeline stuff with everything. Doctor Strange movie's going to really kick it off, I think. We're going to get a whole bunch of time travel stuff in the upcoming Phase 4, 5, and 6 here. And
Great.
one of the big enemies, if not the major bad, is Kang the Conqueror. That's
Yes.
already been confirmed. Therefore, Eric's point is very interesting. Judge Renslayer is actually Ravonna from the comics and a lover of Kang. So in the end, this character is probably going to end up betraying the TVA. But listening to the girl talk, I don't think she knows this. Has no
She
one
might
told
not.
her that she's actually a bad guy?
She very well may not.
Do you think
Uh,
now? Do you think that would be a contractual breach of contract to do such a thing to not tell the person? Well, in truth, you're actually playing a villain.
uh, it depends. It really just depends on what's in her contract. But I don't think it. I mean, I could see a benefit to it if you want the person to not have the anxiety of the twist, right, when they're doing interviews or whatever, and so they can just, oh yeah, my character's really she's kind of badass, blah blah, say that generic nonsense they usually say, without having to have that in the back of the mind that they'll never see the twist coming because it can make them feel awkward or whatever. So I could see some benefit to it. It
Yeah.
also could give you a much more emotional performance when they do the twist out of the person if they didn't know that was coming. Which I know, like
Yeah.
The Walking Dead, they used to do that to some degree. A lot of times they wouldn't even tell the people that this season they were dying, and they would just tell them a few episodes before or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
well, this is a little bigger than that.
Yeah,
But Josh says maybe she's trying not to spoil it. You think she's smart? Listen.
Loki
she's
Laukison.
spot.
Ascendancy to be reset.
You ridiculous bureaucrat!
It's the integrity of time. Anything goes sideways, it's on you.
I feel like I'm always looking up to you. It's appropriate.
She's powerful. She's well respected.
She has enormous authority.
Oh
She's
my
someone that's
God,
worked her
she's
way up the ranks.
enormous. You watch the interview. This girl's not smart at all, dude. Of course, that's not shocking. Hollywood's full of dumb people. All they have to do is just get up there and get through lines, however many takes it takes. No. She doesn't. She's unaware, Joshua. She's unaware. I will say, Lorenzo, though, he says, has Loki changed into a mare and gotten impregnated into any of the movies? That little story I told, I see your story I told, really left an impression, didn't it? We've had several people keep making comments about it. I was like, damn, all right. Maybe I should
No,
tell some more
the
of
sad
those
thing
stories.
about Loki and Thor, really too, is they're not really those characters. I mean, they are in the MCU, but they're just not. They don't have the characteristics of those characters. They don't have Thor's charisma and commanding presence, and Loki's actual deviousness. Not just he sometimes causes bad stuff to happen. Like, go read some of the old stuff Loki did comparatively, and it's night and day as far as how wicked he was. He wasn't just some little scamp, right? He
Oh
actually
no.
did enjoy harming people very much.
Oh yeah,
Very
no,
much.
he is the devil,
Yeah.
basically. Yes. But anyway, let's move on from this. It's just funny, dude, because this is so many people were really had their fingers crossed, hoping that this series would be the salvation because
Mm.
WandaVision was boring and it had no purpose. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was just ridiculous woke garbage.
Yep.
And it's been completely trashed, and this thing is just falling down. It's worse, dude. This is going to be the most woke one. I'm telling you, this is going to be the most woke. Look at your director. Look at her. Look at her.
Mm.
Look at Little Miss Wonder here. And everyone's propping her up. Everyone's praising her. Even Owen Wilson in the actual show has to say, "I always feel like I'm looking up to you." It's appropriate. Everyone has to build her up and hold her up, because she has no ability to do that on her own, right? Poor
Mm-hmm.
little
Mm-hmm.
thing. But I'm telling you, this show is dead in the water, and that pisses me off to no end, dude. Because Hiddleston is actually a fair actor.
Yeah.
It's obvious from the episode one that he needs good actors around him because he can be shit too. But
Mm.
it's a shame, dude. It's a shame.
Yeah. I think I liked Owen Wilson as
I did.
Mobius.
I
I
did.
think he's good. I like Owen Wilson. Period. I've always liked him. I always thought he was funny and a decent enough actor for the roles he played. And he has a lot of charisma. And that line to the judge, that sounds like something Owen Wilson would say in other movies. And he's had that kind of flirty, charming personality in a lot of his films where he, does that with women, says they're above him and stuff. Something to that effect. So I believe that they picked the right guy to say that line. Let me put it that way, because it sounds like an Owen Wilsonism, a noseism,
Fair
because that
enough.
boy's nose is a mess.
It is, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm going to move on, but Lorenzo, you're a madman. That's all I got to say. Goodness gracious. Anyway, go ahead.
I can't. You got to read that. I can't do it.
Well, I would say that if any of you think that if any of you consider yourself to be an intellectual, let me rephrase that. If you have a brain in your head, you might want to turn away. The
Oh my
Tolkien
gosh.
Society Summer Seminar 2021 will focus on Tolkien and diversity. Dude, this is cringe fest. Are you ready? Are you ready, dude?
Oh, I'm not. I'm not. I'm physically in pain. I literally have a headache now. I'm not even exaggerating. Oh my gosh. Just reading that.
Dude, you know what? It's worse than you think. No, hold
These
on a second.
people, these
They did.
these ovens are too good for these people. Good
Oh,
lord.
oh, that's dark.
Oh, I hate
But
them.
all right. Now they have the Tolkien Society has a summer seminar every year where they just kind of worship at the feet of Tolkien, which
Yeah.
okay, it's a good book and all, but whatever. But the here we go. And they say this is the second one. I know they've done it before. Maybe it's another group or a different group or whatever. But in this one here, maybe that's the problem. Maybe this is a new group and they're the problem, but whatever. They because of all the stuff that's been being talked about Tolkien, they really it's important. It's imperative that we talk about Tolkien and diversity. It's important. Okay. I don't care about all this nonsense because trust me, it'll just piss you off if you read this. You don't want to read this. Don't do
At
that.
least Christopher's dead. That's the
Yeah.
only solace you can
That's
take.
fair. That's fair. But what we do need to do, because this is all nonsense coming out of these people's mouths, but we do need to do. The Tolkien Society then prompted a number of topics that papers should focus on. So they basically told the people what they need to write and focus on. So this is what they want to talk about. So you ready? Here we go. They include representation in Tolkien's work, race, gender, sexuality, disability, class, religion, and ageism. Bullet point 2, Tolkien's approach to colonialism and post-colonialism. 3, adaptation of Tolkien's work, which should not be done.
No.
You call yourself the Tolkien Society, and you actually mention the word adaptation? Idiot. Next, diversity and representation in Tolkien academia and readership. Okay, so are you deciding who's allowed to read Tolkien now? Is that what that's hinting at?
That'll be
Next,
next. Yeah, that's
yeah,
step 2.
yeah,
White men aren't allowed to read a thing written by a white British author about other white people.
no,
Not allowed
can't
anymore.
have that. Identity within Tolkien's work, and what? Alterity in Tolkien's works.
Now they're just making up words. What does that mean?
Okay, here are some of the papers they already have. Gondor in Transition, a brief introduction to transgender realities in Lord of the Rings. Dude, dude, you do realize when Amazon basically said that they're gonna sex it up. A lot of people came out and like, no, no, no,
No
and you
thanks.
know why that is? Because there is no sexuality in Tolkien's work at all.
Hmm.
It has nothing to do with sexuality, right? And it certainly has nothing to do with transgenders in any way, shape, or form. My goodness gracious, the poor
Mm.
Catholic man is just turning in his grave. The problem of pain, portraying physical disability in fantasy of J.R.R. Tolkien.
Imagine being a descendant of Tolkien, alive today, and you're not at these people's homes demanding they stop. Because that's what I'd be doing
Yeah,
every day. I'd be there with a megaphone demanding that they stop bastardizing my whatever he is, grandfather, whatever his work. Because
uh,
holy shit, man! At least Chris is dead. That's all. That's the only solace that you can get. Is the only person who would probably have stopped this has passed and is
yeah,
hopefully at peace. Because good
yeah.
lord.
Yep, female dwarves have beards. Damn right, Alan. Yeah, people keep arguing that. Why are you arguing that? Tolkien made it very clear. All right, we have to continue though. I know it's traumatic. Anyway, the burned hand teaches most about fire, applying traumatic stress and ecological frameworks to narratives of displacement and resettlement across cultures in Tolkien's Middle Earth. You mean because bastards are murdering them and burning down their homes? Is that why? Is that what you're on about? Traumatic stress and ecological frameworks, you dipshit.
Oh,
This is what they have already prepared. They're asking for more, as I had said earlier. But it gets better. The visible other, Tolkien's dwarf
no.
women and the feminine lack.
You
They're
gotta be
bitching there
fucking
ain't no
kidding me.
female dwarves in it. Let's see. Lord of the Rings has how many doors? How many? Precisely how many doors? One. Yep,
Yeah,
one.
there's a
We got
grand
one.
total of one
Yeah,
in
one.
the saga. Yeah,
Just one. Yeah. Yeah.
just the one. Yeah, there's others mentioned in other places, but just the one.
Just the
Just the
one.
one.
Yeah, there's just the one
Yeah.
bear as well. But that's from The Hobbit, Lorenzo. And he says, "What about bears? You're a bear, right, Chester? Where's
Where's
the
the
bear
bear
representation?" Well, that's in The Hobbit, along with the rest of the dwarves and the female ones as well.
Just imagine reading the Lord of the Rings, any race, and thinking, you know what? This needs more black people in it. I can't get into it. There's just not enough black gay people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just is too. I'm sorry. They say the word queer and they're not talking about weirdos who like to do weird things sexually. I can't get into it. Throw it away. Just get rid of it. That's
Well-
what these people's mind is like. That's how fucking sick in the head they are.
Yeah.
Or imagine if I went and read a Black Panther comic, be like, nope, not enough white people in there. Get rid of that.
Well, that's the
How
problem.
ridiculous that is.
They're projecting their own guilt and their own inadequacy. That's for sure. But the funny thing is, I'm a nerd for sure. So are you. We're all nerds in some way or another. However, I also think we've all had that moment where we've walked into a room and it's just too nerdy for us. It's cringy, right?
Yeah,
We've all
that's
had
called
that.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah,
For
right there.
you.
D&D.
That's right. I
Yeah.
understand that. But I mean, I've had that feeling myself. Right? I've had that feeling myself.
Yeah.
Now, imagine walking into this room.
Oh my god! No, you can't make me even. I refuse. I utterly refuse. I control my own mind, Chester, and you won't make me do it.
Right? Imagine walking in and all the men are little cucks sitting there, literally cowering behind the fat chicks.
God. Oh my
And
god!
every time a
the
fat
worst
woman
part about those men is every single one of them are wannabe rapists, but they don't have the courage to even be that much of a monster.
Wow.
That's how weak and pathetic they are. They're beneath rapists when it comes to courage
Maybe
and
we should
determination.
encourage them to be braver, though.
No, we should encourage them to stop breathing. That's what we should
fair
encourage.
Fair enough.
Please.
But I just have this image of a fat chick talking about transgenderism and Tolkien, and all the little cucks in the back putting their hands up and jazz hands.
Oh my god! And do you see this? Pardoning Saruman, the queer in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Motherfucker, I will hurt you. Somebody say that to my face, please.
I was like, where's that one? I haven't got there yet. You're jumping the boat. Stop
it. I hate these people so much. I try not to hate them, but Christ on sale. Somebody send an apocalypse. We are overdue.
You're right, Kronos. They're not human at all. You're right. They're actually angels. But let's see.
No. Now they're queer angels, Chester. Get that straight. They're queer angels.
Okay.
Yeah. They're queer angels.
This next one I thought was interesting. Projecting Indian myths, cultures, and history onto Tolkien's world. Now, what Indians are we talking about here? Dot or feather?
Like my Indians or the ones from the subcontinent known as India? I don't know. That one actually could be maybe cool. I might actually like that one. I'd be like, oh, let's see how they take it. Let's see how they, depending on where they go with it, of course. But let's see what their take on it is, because I could see how you could do that to some degree, especially if it's the Dot Indians, as you call them. If it's a very polytheistic world, you could make some parallels, sure, absolutely. But I don't think that's what we're doing here. Let's be honest. That's not what they're doing. They're not going to do anything intellectual that takes critical thought and the ability to make proper comparison. No. There will be none of that.
The dot and feather thing is just simply speedier. I could say, "Would you like some pajama curry? I could give it to you now." That's a little bit long-winded. To be fair. However, the thing with the Indians, the subcontinent Indians, they actually have an incredibly long, rich history.
Yep.
There's a lot of interesting things there, not like the natives who were, well, nothing. However,
yep.
Let's keep. We're continuing the Lossoth. Ooh, okay. Indignity, identity, and anti-racism. Come on. The problematic parameters of Elrond, half Elven, and Ronald English Catholic. Alrighty. Hearkening to the other, Athrabeth, Finrod, Undreth. That's true. That's true. Pardoning Saruman, that's the one you talk about. The queer in
I
Tolkien's
just
The Lord of the Rings.
even Saruman would murder you for calling him a queer. By the way, he wouldn't have that nonsense. He'd be like, "What? Just die," because he has no time for people's nonsense. He's got no time.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, the thing with
God.
the wizards, they're literally angels sent down to Earth that had a lot of their power removed because they were worried because in the past when they came to Earth there was great destruction, so they wanted to prevent that. So the wizards were actually, absolutely their power level
Weakened.
was greatly
Yes.
weakened. But
They were only
they are
allowed to do certain
angels.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no sexuality to them whatsoever,
No.
intentionally.
Correct.
They're beyond that. Okay.
See, it would have made sense if. See, here's how they're going to get around that. I can already hear it in my head. Yes, but they presented themselves as male. You see, they could have chose anything, and they just presented themselves as males.
Uh-huh. Yeah, true.
Just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up.
I think that Eric has the best question. Do a polytheist wear polyester? I believe so, sir. I do. Anyway, let's keep going. It's insane, right? Now here we go again. Desire of the Ring, an Indian academic's adventures in her quest for the perilous realm. Interesting. So a rewrite. Queer atheism, agnostic and animist. Oh my. Hidden visions, iconography of alterity. What are you trying to
Alterity,
say?
yes.
Alterity in Soviet bloc illustrations for Lord of the Rings. Okay, and keep in mind this book has been written into 80 plus languages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions of caste in Lord of the Rings and its multiple Chinese translations. Okay. Stars Less Strange, an analysis of fan fiction and representation within Tolkien fan community. Why does that matter? Something mighty queer. There's a lot of gay stuff here. Destabilizing cyst herito. Huh? What? These people like their made up words, dude.
They have made up their own words. So I don't know what that other word is. Amatonormativity. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that before. I have no idea what that is.
It would be normal-bodied people.
Cis hetero, though, is basically what they've created to otherize normal because they don't because you see when you use the word normal, they get all a flutter. How dare you define what is normal? No, normal just means the vast majority. That's normal. That's it. That's all it is. When something's in the vast majority, it's the normal state of it. Period.
Yeah.
And,
normal is normal.
I hate them
word
so
is talking
much.
about people who have normal bodies, meaning not missing limbs and stuff. Translations as a means of representation, diversity, and Tolkien scholarship for fandom. Oh, okay. Well, that at least was sensical. All right. And they want more. So these idiots, I mean, talk about an absolute circle jerk, dude. That's what this is. That's all this is. And I knew it would actually give aneurysms to Thundera and the rest of you. That's why I put it up. But
it makes me want to commit great acts of violence. It really does. These people are so just bereft of anything normal and decent. They are everything they claim to hate, and they get all of this attention and all of this. I mean, for Christ's sake, look at this. They get all of this clout thrown their way when they're nothing but abnormal freaks. They're literally queer, as Tolkien would have used the word. They have no business in civilized society making any dictations to anyone, period, at all.
Right.
No questions asked, because they can't even control their own lives. Most of them have severe mental disorders, aside from transsexuality or any other, just obscene amounts of mental. They're on all kinds of medications. They're human garbage, and the only reason they exist is because the strong permit it. Simple as that. They would be ended instantly in a real crisis. And we know this. We saw it last year when we all thought, the world thought this coronavirus thing was going to be big. That all went away for like a month and a half. You didn't hear none of this stuff. There was no talking about it at all. And it's because, there's no atheists in foxholes. And there's There's no one who's not a conservative in a crisis because they die real quick.
That's
Real
true.
quick.
That is true. But I would say this before I move on with this article. Now, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit as well, Silmarillion, released by Christopher. Um, they're good books, but they're just books, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they're good
Yes.
ones, though. I did enjoy them. However, here you don't have a group of people who are fans of Tolkien. This is not fandom. What this
No.
is just like everything else. A lot of people like it, particularly men. Therefore, they have to wriggle in and figure out a way to destroy it, just like
Yes.
everything else. That's what this is. It's simply hiding in plain sight, is what it's doing. They are not the Tolkien Society. They're the anti-Tolkien Society. That's what they
Yes.
are.
Correct.
And that's why it confused me because I don't know the name of the other one because there is I thought it was called the Tolkien Society, but there is another group that does do a summer, convention every year, and they've been doing it for decades, right? But this is
Hmm.
not them. This is a new group. This is their second annual. So this is the anti-Tolkien group, and they're desperate to find a way to tear down a really good book. It is literally, no matter how you measure it, one of the best books written. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It is
But
probably the greatest book series, and by greatest, I don't necessarily mean technically best written, just most impact. Definitely the last 100 years, maybe ever. It's up there, and that's
well,
why they're after it.
um,
It's a pillar of modern and not postmodern, but modern European and Anglican and all that society is what it's
yeah,
become.
it is. And if you take another series that was very popular as well, like say the Harry Potter series,
Yes.
if you want as far as their impact, it's very impactful. Now the writing of Tolkien is far superior to that of Harry Potter. Far superior. But then again, he was a true academic, a real one. Not like the nonsense we get today, people holding PhDs who don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Present company excluded.
Hmm.
However, but
The sad thing is these people who are going to comment, myself included, probably don't even have anywhere near the chutzpah. I guess
Acumen.
that's not even the word I'm
Acumen.
looking for. The acumen. That's the word I'm looking for. To sniff Tolkien's jock when it comes to intellectual thought, regardless of his books. The man was brilliant,
He was.
genuinely,
He was.
and the books just elucidate that even more. Just shows it even more.
But it just shows their desperation as well. I
Yeah.
mean, keep in mind, The Hobbit was put together as a collection of little stories he just told his kids at night when they're going to bed. That's where The Hobbit
He
comes
just
from.
made up. Just made them up.
Just made them up.
From what I understand, that's what Tom Bombadil is too. Just a character he made up to tell his kids when they were going to bed, and he
Yeah.
made it into a character into the book.
Yep, that's right. So, I mean, a lot of people take way too much thought into it. It's not
Yeah.
that deep, really, guys. He did have an intention. He wanted to recreate the Anglo-Saxon narrative that had been lost when the Normans came in and murdered everybody.
Yep.
He did have a purpose, but it's not the Bible. It's not, it's not historical or religious
And
stuff.
he wouldn't have wanted you to think of it
No,
that
God,
way.
no. He was
He
a
would
devout
probably be
Catholic.
very upset, maybe even angry at some nearly theological reverence people put on this. But the reason why it's important is because people do that, and these bastards know it. So that's why they're attacking it.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's the only reason. It's because it means so much to so many people, probably more than it should in a lot of ways, let's be honest. And because of that, and because of the significance and the power that has, these vampires have to come and suck it dry until it's dead. If you read all of those with malice, those headlines, those little bullet points, you understand what you're dealing with here, because every single one of them is said in malice, hidden behind a smile. Every one of them.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing and they know what they're about. There's no confusion in their brains about what the purpose of this is. It's to destroy the credibility and the iconicness, I guess, that's not a word, but it is now, of these works.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
been saying it. They're coming for it. I've
of
been
course, they
saying it
come
for
for
years.
everything. That's true. But I do have homework for the chat, Thundero. I do.
Uh
All right. So here you go, Chad. This is what you need to do. Anybody who's near this needs to go to it. And what you need to do, you need to be prepared. So
oh.
here's your homework. All right. You need to get one of those big straws that they sell, that they have like at Starbucks, the really big ones where you can suck like gelatin balls through them. Those big ones. Get one of those. Then you need to get yourself one of those Ziploc plastic bags. You know the ones that you put them together and they become green. Those ones, yeah. You need to fill it full of lukewarm chili. Put the straw in there, get a near beer and a Make America Great hat again. Go there and suck on the chili through the straw in the little plastic bag while drinking your near beer. The near beer is because you don't want to get arrested for having alcohol in public. However, that's what you should do. That's your protest.
Yes.
Homework.
Yep.
Yep.
Or if you really want to get crazy, I don't know where this is. Where's this even taking place at? I'm assuming somewhere in England or London or something like that. If you really want to get crazy, maybe show up with, a bullhorn and just tell them they're all idiots repeatedly for hours. Just don't say anything that'll get you arrested, especially if it's in, another country. But just call them idiots. Just call them all really stupid people. You're dumb people. You're bad. You're terrible. Just shame them for hours, real loud. Make sure they hear it, and just let them know that they're pieces of human shit. That's what they are.
Roger doesn't like my homework. But the Tolkien Society describes their seminars as short academic conferences of both researcher-led and non-academic presentation on a specific theme pertaining to Tolkien scholarship. None of those things go with what I just read. I don't see where it's going to be happening, but pay attention to it, Tolkien Society, and give them what for. Anyway, I'm going to move on, but I thought that would be fun, and it was. Here we go.
Oh, so much fun.
This is just slightly connected. We'll just deal with the headline real quick and move on, though. Go ahead.
New The Lord of the Rings animated project, The War of the Rohirrim, in development.
What do you think about that?
Interesting. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think if the animation's quality, that could be pretty cool. That's a pretty cool little tidbit there. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
It's a bit male, though.
Uh-oh.
Bit masculine.
That's a little too much masculinity for me. We might need to change that to the brunch of the Rohirrim. Thank you.
Yeah, that might be better. But the thing is, Amazon is coming out with many, many, many projects. They're just biting deep into the Tolkien apple, and they're running with it. So hopefully, in the mayhem that is to come, we will get maybe one or two that'll be good. Maybe this one. I still enjoy that old Hobbit animated film. Who put that out? Was that Rankin Bass? Was it?
I believe you're correct.
Maybe.
I could be wrong.
I still enjoy that. So you can have something really neat. They have Kamiyama is known for his work directing the Ultraman series as well as Cyborg 009, Call of Justice, and Ghost in the Shell. Now, these are all Japanese anime, and I like them to a point. I don't know that he is anywhere near the right person to do this job. Anywhere near. This is completely outside of his wheelhouse, dude.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Well,
all
anyway.
we can do is wait and see at this point, unfortunately.
Well, at least the Japanese in charge of it. He's not going to shy away from the masculinity of it at all. So that's Ralph Baskin. Yeah, Ralph Bakshi. Sorry, Bakshi. Thank you very much, Amaran. Yeah, I thought so. I still like that one. Anyway, let's move on here. Now, we need to have a little bit more of the Masters of the Universe conversation because the world is falling down around Kevin Smith's ears. If you haven't noticed.
That's a shame.
And it doesn't get better. Go ahead.
No, it doesn't. Masters of the Universe, rather. Revelation showrunner Kevin Smith attempts to explain why He-Man's armor was changed.
Now, he's saying in this article that this series is picking up exactly where the series ended off in the 80s. And therefore, things are going to change. Of course, they're going to change, guys. Right? Okay. But we already know that this is going to be Tila led. Tila Center, not only in the animation but also in the comic book. He's lied about that. He keeps lying over and over and over. And what they're talking about here, He-Man doesn't really have armor, but he's got this little chest piece thing,
Yeah.
and they do change it. And he's just talking about, well, people have other clothing, I guess, just the same argument we got from the heavy metal, right? And of
Mhm.
course, this is really why, because they have a new piece that's coming out, and they have this on He-Man you see here. And the thing is, I guess the world is it's too much for He-Man nipples. That's really what the problem
Can't
is.
have them.
But
Can't have
it looks like in this, and they have it, his chest flips. So here's the thing: what does that center flip to? It's got an H, but what does it flip to? Is He-Man going to be possessed by Skeletor, and he's going to be the enemy? You think?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
See, well, I think it also is they wanted to get rid of the cross. I
Maybe.
think that was probably a big part of it too. You know, we can no longer have any kind of Christian iconography. We have to get rid of it as much as we can. So no cross on He-Man. He gets an H now.
Yeah. So it's just more. I'm not going to spend too much time on this article, but it's unraveling, dude. Kevin Smith lied to us many times. He continues to lie. This is woke garbage, just like She-Ra is what this is. Anyway, let's not spend too much time on it. Let's move on to the next one. This one's absolutely just a gem.
Mindy Kaling led adult-oriented Scooby-Doo animated comedy to focus on race-swapped Velma will not feature Scooby-Doo.
All right, so what we have here is we have
So dumb! It's so dumb! How do they not see this is stupid? How? How are their brains that mush that they can't see that having a show about a Scooby-Doo character not featuring Scooby-Doo is a dumb idea? That's dumb. That's real bad. That's like having a show about Mr. Krabs and not having SpongeBob in there. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you ever do that?
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, right? But I mean, of course, and that caught your attention far more in the fact that Velma is now a very old and ugly Indian girl, and this is adult oriented. What is this, a pornography?
Okay. I grew up with Scooby-Doo. Chester, you practically grew up with Scooby-Doo, actually.
I did.
Does anybody need adult
Legitimately grew up with
Scooby-Doo? Do we need to see Scooby-Doo in adult situations or Velma in adult situations learning about her sexuality?
No.
Does anybody want that? No, we don't. Not a person. I bet you can do a poll of every human being on Earth, and the vast majority aren't going to know what Scooby-Doo is, but the ones who do are going to be like, no, why would I want that?
Well, I'm just curious, why is it such an old woman? Why is so? This is basically what, Velma in her 50s. After the gang is gone, is she the last surviving member? Because that's an old woman, dude. That's a 50-year-old something odd woman right there. And okay, fine, but that's the story you want to tell about Velma? You would think you would want to see, like, kind of the college years where she got away from those silly detective kids and she went and became president of the world. That's what I imagine it would be. But they got this old woman, Indian lady, playing Velma. It's clearly not Velma.
Oh, this is why you just gotta laugh at the madness anymore, because it's just there's just so much money in Hollywood right now, and there really is, because all China and a bunch of other places are just throwing money at projects, even in video games too. And this is just utterly stupid. There's no other way to put it. It's stupid. It is like, I don't even know a good analogy other than this Mr. Krabs one. It's stupid. Nobody wants to see. Imagine if they made a Mr. Krabs show and they decided to make it more adult themed and it was just about him running a small business. Nobody wants to watch that.
No, it doesn't.
Who wants to watch that? Who's the audience for this?
And Dave makes a very good point. We want Shaggy and Scooby getting their munchies. Yes, dude.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's exactly what we want.
Listen, Shaggy never once smoked pot, all right? I didn't see him do it. He smoked a lot of pot.
He
Let's
smoked
be
a
honest.
lot of pot.
Yeah.
Now, what was that? There was that actor Hillard that they were really pushing for a while. He was in the Scream movie. He was in 13 Ghosts. Um, I know people give him a lot of crap, but I thought he was a good Shaggy.
Yeah, he was
I
actually really
liked him
good
as
as Shaggy.
Shaggy.
He is currently doing the American reboot of Top Gear.
Hmm.
Sweet. All right then. Um,
If you're familiar with that show from BBC, it's
well,
it's a
Top Gear
car
is
it's
a
a car
Tom Cruise
orientated
movie. What are you
show,
talking
but
about? Oh, Top Gear.
no,
Oh,
there's
you're
a
talking about the
yeah
one with the car guys.
yeah
Why?
there's they decided to reboot the series because the original I think there was some controversy with the original guys,
Yeah,
so
he
they
punched a
decided
producer.
to
Yeah, he did. But the reason the original series lasted so long and was so successful was because the chemistry between those guys. Um,
yeah
uh, what? No, that's a bad idea. But Jinkies and
it's
D
already out there.
Dave.
So I just laugh at the concept of giving Mindy Calling another show when they've already seen that she's not nearly good enough to carry a show on her own.
Well, I
No.
don't understand why Velma's an old woman though.
Because she's the right
Because they
skin color, and the people who run Hollywood really like them some Mindy. I don't know why. Because, like he said, they keep throwing shows at her, and they keep failing miserably, and yet here we are.
Well,
yeah, because I mean, she was decent, I guess, in the office, but they gave her her own show, and it died pretty fucking quick. So that should have been their indication that she's not good enough to carry something like that on her own. But
yeah, so
and
she's 41, they say here, 42, but she looks 50 something. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. This is dumb. This is very weird, and no one's gonna watch it. So waste of money. However, that's nowhere near as important as this next one because he's speaking truth to power, Thundero.
Oh God. Shang-Chi actor Simu Liu shares lengthy post denouncing Canadian sitcom Kim's Convenience overwhelmingly white producers. So he hates white people. Cool.
Yes, he does. And once again, we have an actor showing their ass before a movie comes out. And let's see, Grimlock. Let's count how many times that helped them. Let's count. You ready? Here we go. Go.
Zero.
Zero. Yeah, zero.
I'm going with zero. That's my
Yeah,
guess.
you're
Zero?
definitely going with
It's
zero.
zero,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's the answer.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it doesn't help you. This hurts you, dude.
No.
And basically,
Yeah.
what this guy is doing is bitching. Talk about this amazing, great Canadian sitcom called Kim's Convenience, which no one has ever heard of.
Never
I've
heard of it.
never heard of this thing ever. And they canceled the show, and he's just butthurt because the one non-Asian character in the show, I guess, ended up getting a spin-off series. So he's just butthurt, and he's blaming the reason why it got canceled and the reason why he didn't get his own special things because whiteness. It's the whiteness. White people did it. So, that's the whole article. I just summed it up for you. You don't have to read it because that's everything it says in here. He's just butthurt and he's complaining about the whites. So, yeah.
I always love how it's like the guys who play these bit roles that immediately jump to racism when they don't get a bigger role for something. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you get like 3 minutes of screen time per episode, if that. Nobody cares about you that much.
And the best part is it never works. Ever. Because the people who run Hollywood don't actually give a shit about anything like that. It's all performative. That's all they're doing. It's a big performance because some idiot marketing people have told them that it makes, it really plays well on Twitter.
Yeah.
Nobody cares outside of their bubble. Nobody.
Well,
And I'm not just talking Americans. I'm talking the whole fucking world.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
no one cares.
Nobody.
But here's the thing. Does this, are you going to watch the Shang-Chi now?
Nope.
Nope.
I was
No.
going to watch it before.
Well, I might watch it, but they
Well,
won't be getting
well-
any of my money.
When they mentioned it, I was like, ooh. Then I saw the trailer. I was like, ooh. But I'm definitely not watching it now. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. Not going to support you, Mr. White Hater. And the funny thing is, that show he was doing, which I've never heard of, and and there was a movie that came out, it was Filthy Rich Asians or something like that. I'm not sure. But the thing is, they're trying to put some of that in the Shang-Chi here to try to get some nods and like to it. But I didn't watch that movie or show or whatever it was. However, I do know some of the consequences of it, and it's ironic to me because I've seen a lot of Hollywood people just praising that thing. And what they don't understand is the backside of it. You see, all of these rich Chinese kids who go to the West and go to universities and make a bunch of noise and complain about China and act like idiot rich kids, kind of like the Muslim princes out of Saudi Arabia and other places. The problem is that the thing I'm sure they didn't mention in the movie or show or whatever it was is the fact that yeah, the Chinese government arrested their parents and they've disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, being a rich person in China is a dangerous thing. And I'm sure they thought it would be good to send their kids to the West to study and improve themselves, but in the end, they ended up fucking themselves hard, dude. So that's what these little rich Chinese kids outside of China have done. They've murdered their parents. That's the reality. Let that sink in for a second, right? Okay, you go,
But
you go, see me, Liu. Okay,
You're a hero.
you're a
you,
hero.
you,
Get them whites.
you know what? But you know what, Chester? I wouldn't watch that guy. Not even because he hates white people. I wouldn't watch him just because he's a whining bitch. I mean, I really kind of get irritated when I see people who get to a place in life that less than 5% of people will ever get to in
That's right.
life, and then just whine and sour grapes about how they're not getting more. You
Yeah.
have people sitting in Hollywood in a behind a dumpster doing heroin because they wish they could be in the spot you are, and you're sitting there bitching because what your role? You didn't get a spin-off show from a show nobody outside of Canada watched. Fuck off.
Yeah, no, it's exactly true, Grimlock. And Kronos is trying to help us out here, Thundera. He says, you ain't supposed to talk about China. They might ban us. Well, dude, hang on to your Speedo. Go ahead, Thundera.
Hang on. What are we looking at? Video reportedly shows live bats at Wuhan lab, contradicting the World Health Organization investigation.
No.
No, the World Health
No.
Organization is a pillar of truth and
That's
honesty.
right.
How dare this article
Yeah.
besmirch their good
Yes.
name with evidence to the contrary?
And those WHO investigators
That
told
is
us
true
they didn't even
and
check.
factual.
They don't have to check. China's trustworthy.
How dare they?
How dare they? However, I thought this was funny,
Uh-oh.
me personally, because it's a world exclusive you see here from Sky News, and everyone's picking up and talking about it. But here's the thing: I don't know if you recall, Thundero, but it was like more than a year and a half ago. I think it was December of 2019, in fact, when we started on this channel talking about the Wu flu. And I don't know, Grimlock, can you mute yourself or something, dude?
Okay.
Or whoever the noise is coming through. Okay, there we go. But in December of 2019, I started talking about this. Now, why? Because I was seeing a bunch of stuff come out of China about this virus that was killing people, and the government was shutting down information about it, arresting doctors and stuff like that. And I talked about the bats and the fact that it was coming out of the lab because that was the very first stuff that came out of China. The very first stuff. And a matter of fact, I'm not surprised because this is not a world premiere. I've seen this video. Matter of fact, I saw it over a year and a half ago, right? As well as other videos. China lies, China asshole. This is definitely true. The CCP cannot be trusted at all. The WHO is 100% in bed with them. They've lied continuously. They will not stop lying. But the great thing is your leaders are in bed with them, so nobody cares. Yeah. But this is kind of Thundero. This is kind of one of those situations where you know how you get to say "I told you so" a lot. You know how you do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is my turn.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my turn. I'm going to try out something here.
Feels good.
Yeah, well, it does feel good, but I'm going to try something else. I've seen someone else do. I want to see how it feels. Okay. Here we go. Fuck you, I was right. 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 Oh, wow. It does feel good. Even the spinning is good. That's nice.
Ooh.
I see why
Just
he does
loosens you
that.
up, gets some endorphins going. It's better than a cigarette. And I've never had a cigarette, but I can assure you it's better than a cigarette. It feels good.
Oh God,
Feels good.
it's hilarious to me, dude, because we literally talked about this in December 2019. This very
Yup.
video I talked about, dude, and now it's a world premiere all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, dude.
They're just so they're evil. There's no other word for it.
Yeah.
They are evil. Evil, 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 evil. And yeah, no, wait, Chester, so wait. Listen, it was a very credible theory that it came out of a live market that just happened to be a stone's throw, literally, from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. That was just a coincidence. You're a conspiracy theorist if you think that there's a possibility it came out of the place where they've been studying it for 10 years
Yeah.
or longer.
Yeah.
And that couldn't have been. That couldn't have been. China would never let that happen, right?
Yeah.
Because they're known for their competence. They're known for it.
They are. But
Yeah.
I don't even know where the wet market thing came out of. Because seriously, if you remember when I started talking about it, that there was no comment about any wet market. The
Mm-mm.
very beginning, doctors were talking about the fact that this was a man-made virus, and they suspected the Wuhan Institute. And then, like
Mhm.
a month or so later, I started hearing the wet market thing. And I don't know if you guys recall this, but back in December and early January, when I would, because every week I was talking about this, right?
Mhm.
I actually thought that Trump was I was a bit frustrated because I said, oh, Trump's kind of moving slow on this. He's kind of
Mhm.
moving slow on this. And then finally, by the end of January, he did react. And of course, he reacted before every other world leader in the West, anyway. But if you do recall, I was kind of raising concern that we needed to pay attention to this, and America was kind of missing the point, right? If
Yep.
you recall.
Yep.
And there were a ton of videos and ton of stuff coming out of China before China just shut the internet down, basically, and arrested
Yep.
everybody. And this is not stopped. This is ongoing. But the WHO, they lied about the fact that they actually, not even the fact that it came out of the Wuhan lab, but also the fact that the Wuhan lab had bats in it, and they had lots of them. Right? They said there were no bats there. And now you have the guy who said that before is like, well, I don't know, maybe they were trying to start their own colony or something. But of course, the important comment from that dude way back when was the fact that they didn't even look, they didn't
Nope.
even check, right?
They just rubber stamped it.
They just rubber stamped
That's
it. And
all they did.
he felt so confident in that rubber stamping that he said it out loud.
Yep. No, I think Roger Heller over here is absolutely correct. It wasn't an accident at all. China knew what they had, and they knew what they did. They needed multiple things to happen, and luckily, conveniently, pretty much all of it happened for them. They needed Hong Kong brought in line. Guess what happened? Hong Kong got brought in line. They needed to make sure the United States wouldn't get involved in them literally invading Hong Kong, and we didn't because we were too preoccupied with this virus. They also needed to bolster their economy and put them basically at the top now, and it pretty much succeeded. The United States has been floundering for the last 2.5 years, or year and a half, I guess, because of this thing. And they got pretty much everything they could have wanted, including rid of Donald Trump. Their agents over here, which are largely the Democrat Party or other people, did everything they could to ensure that
And they
Donald
did.
Trump was gone. And it worked. Whether they did it
Yeah.
through cheating means or they did it legitimately is really irrelevant at this point because it worked. And now that they're not paying the exorbitant amount of fees that Trump had them paying for all sorts of things, and the shift that had started away from China has gone right back to China by and large,
Yeah.
no matter what Biden's mush brain tries to pretend he's saying.
Yeah.
They got everything they wanted. Xi Jinping is immensely happy. He has to be gratified with the results of this pandemic that they unleashed. It was absolutely a bioweapon. Until somebody shows me evidence to the contrary, I'm going to continue to say it was a bioweapon. China unleashed it on the world, and they should pay a hell of a price. In fact, they shouldn't exist anymore.
Well,
if this world was still sane and America was still America, we should take them out. Period.
Well, it was at least gain of function. At least that. to see, they will make something more virulent to see which of the various traces are the worst, and therefore they can create some kind of vaccine for it. That's what supposedly it's supposed to be. So it's a minimum of gain of function. Now, Roger, as far as what you're saying, we do know that the Wuhan lab had collected infected bats from around the world, 14,000 of these bats to be specific, infected ones, right? And some of them were taken out of Africa. That's true.
Yep.
And they're basically doing the mad scientist crap, which now we know that Fauci loves that shit. He has many strange and really creepy and disgusting projects that he backs. He's a little freaking villain,
He's evil.
super villain is what he is.
Yeah.
Um,
He's evil.
and um, More than likely, we know they called it SARS-2 in the beginning, if you recall. That's what the
Yes.
Chinese doctors were calling it, SARS-2, right?
Yes.
And then it became, they threw a name COVID-19 on it to distract you, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, we don't really have all that information, and they're going to do everything they can to hide it from us. The funny thing for me, guys, is this: these guys have these devious plans. These leftists, I guess we can call them progressives. They're not really; they're opportunists, is what you should call them. But It turns out they're not that smart. Their
No.
plans don't have legs, Thundero. They don't really have an. They're kind of like J.J. Abrams. They can't end the story, dude.
No. No. It's. I think, in all honesty, that China is by far the most evil nation maybe the world has ever seen. Maybe it's up there for
Yeah.
sure.
Well,
Everything that the Nazis get crapped on for, rightfully so in most cases, China's doing way worse. Everything that the communists and the Soviet Union did, China's doing way worse today, right this second. They unleashed intentionally, and I'm going to say it again, YouTube, fuck yourself. They intentionally murdered hundreds of thousands of people with this virus. Allegedly, that's how many died from it. This was intent. They did it on purpose. It wasn't an accident. They knew what they were doing, and they got everything they wanted. Everything they could have possibly wanted last year went China's way. Everything. That doesn't happen. That's not how the world works unless you purposefully make it happen. And the Chinese understand that. You see, they understand power better than the West does. And they've understood that for a very long time, longer than even the communists have controlled it. And they know that in order to get what they want out of the world, they're going to have to make it happen.
yeah. Well,
Period. And they don't care about human life.
No.
We know that. They have no regard for it. So yes, they would absolutely release a deadly virus to get what they want.
Yeah.
No question. No question.
They would, and just to give you another understanding of something a little bit about China, I've certainly told you guys quite a bit about China, but since you mentioned Germany, let me make a comparison, right? During the Nazi occupation and control of Germany, and I do reference it that way. To give you an example, a lot of the German soldiers, not just people, a lot of the German soldiers actually worked against the Nazis on a regular basis. Let me
Yes.
give you an example of that. There's a movie that came out called The Great Escape. It's got Steve McQueen in it. It's a really good movie. I suggest you go watch it. But that movie is showing about an actual historical escape, a big one. And the main reason that escape was successful is because the German soldiers in the prisoner camp were helping them get out, right? There are a
Yep.
lot of German people and German soldiers who fought against the Nazis in World War II. It happened a lot, right? In China, you have the same thing going on, the fight against CCP. You just never hear about it. The reality is the people in China are constantly protesting, constantly standing up, trying to push this regime out. The problem is the all the police and the military they have are basically just kind of yakuza thugs. They're not cops, right? And
Yeah.
no one is willing to help them in the world. No one helps to speak out for them. Hong Kong got a little voice for a short time, and now it's gone. When's the last time you heard anything about Hong Kong? But let me give you an example of something that happened just a few months ago, right, in China. China basically back in the 90s, right? when Tiananmen Square kicked off, they made a decision that we need to deal with the intellectuals because they blamed the universities for all the noise and what led to Tiananmen Square, and that was quite embarrassing to CCP, and they don't like being embarrassed. So what they did was they basically made it that everybody can get a bachelor degree. They figure if everybody can be a college graduate, then it takes away the power and the influence of it, and that was their intention. However, on top of that, to promote this thinking, they basically made the blue collar vocational people, the necessity of all culture that you need the carpenter, you need those people, right? They made them a second class citizen, and they would constantly put out rumors about, oh, these are just they're barely human. It's embarrassing to be blue collar. They pushed this narrative for such a long time that now they've got to the point that none of the kids, of course, want to do blue collar stuff because, well, that's embarrassing. You're a lower caste to be part of the blue collar, as the CCP
Hmm.
told them, right? So they're
Now,
all
where
going
have I
to that.
seen that before?
Right. No, no, exactly, right. But here's how it got twisted. Eventually, here, because the CCP doesn't plan anything, guys. All they do is react. That's all they do. They just
Right.
react constantly, and there's stupid mistakes they make. They're constantly trying to clean up. So they saw, oh, we have a problem. We don't have enough blue collar workers, but we really, really need them. So what did they do? They decided that they're going to randomly choose the universities around China, and they're going to turn them into vocational universities, right? And they're going to start pushing people into it. Well, the problem was all those kids that were in those random universities that were chosen were studying for bachelor degrees, which you, by the way, you can't work in the Chinese government unless you have a minimum of a bachelor degree, by the way. And they made them vocational schools. Okay, well, fine. But what they did as well is everybody who was in school at the time would get a vocational degree. So all of these
Hmm.
students were like, "Well, hold a minute. We've been studying for a bachelor. Well, you're going to give us an associate's degree, basically, right? A trade school degree. That's not what we've been studying." And the Chinese government said, "Too bad." So they started protesting. What we do? We spent all this money. We spent 4 years in school. We're here for a bachelor's degree. Too bad. Now, of course, the easy solution would be everyone who's in there just gets grandfathered through with a bachelor, and you just kind of continue on with your vocational training, right? That's the logical, simple solution. No, no, they refused it. And so the kids started a peaceful protest, just standing and peacefully, complaining. And so what did the CCP do? They sent in their SWAT, in their stormtroopers, beat, killed, murdered, disappeared. Right now, there's several thousand students from around the country that nobody knows where they are. This just happened, by the way. That's China, dude. That's China.
Yep. They're
But
evil.
don't get it backwards, dude. Don't get it twisted. The Chinese people fight against this shit all the time. You just never hear it.
Oh, of course. I know they do. I think that they're the only way to stop China now is to save the Chinese people.
Yeah. Hmm.
The Chinese people, not all of them, probably not even most, but enough of them know what they know full well what the problem is with their system, with their civilization, their society, whatever you want to call it. And they do genuinely love their country. They have a pride in their country that's greater than America's is now. But they obviously, these ones I'm talking about, hate the CCP. They can't say it. They can't say it publicly anyway.
Well,
And they got to be careful who they say it to in private too. But they do, and they make
well,
it known when they can.
about
Um,
about 80% Thundero of the Chinese people agree with the idea of the current, whatever you want to call the government, the CCP
yeah,
government in China. They agree with that. The problem they have, of course, is with the local government, which is the same thing, but nobody in China likes the local government because they're just a bunch of gang bosses, dude. That's all
yeah,
they are. And they will
correct.
take and rape and steal whatever they want, and they don't get any trouble for it. They're above the law. And this is what the Chinese people are constantly fighting against. And it's kind of disgusting to me because there are many people around the world who find themselves oppressed, and Americans and Europeans, we often speak out against it, right? We're like, hey, we promote freedom. We promote freedom of speech and free democracy around the world. That's our thing, right? That's kind of our
Hmm.
deal, right?
Yeah,
But yet no one says anything about China ever. And how dare you? I mean, someone made the joke earlier that me talking about China will get this episode pulled. Probably will.
good. Good.
Yeah.
Fuck
But I'm
'em.
just saying, it's ridiculous. If anybody on the planet needs help, it's the Chinese. Without question, they need help, but no one wants to help them, dude. You know how
Yeah.
disgusted I was when I saw that whole Hong Kong thing going down, and not a single
Yeah.
goddamn government around the world lifted their fingers to help them. Nobody did.
Not a
It
single person.
disgusted me, man.
It was in all honesty. See, if we had an actually political parties that were rivals in America, and not just a bunch of different wings on the same bird, uh, they would have pointed out Trump's actual real failing, and that was Hong Kong. He did nothing. He did nothing.
He did.
He let Hong
He
Kong
did.
be taken,
That's right.
and that's the greatest failing of his presidency, in my opinion. He
And
allowed Hong Kong to be taken.
he did. And Roger, you're right. Myanmar, I still would rather call it Burma, North Korea. There are many examples around the world of people who are being horribly oppressed, and people speak out against it, but no one talks about China. And they are incredibly oppressed, dude. And they've been that
Yep.
way for a long time, and no one has lifted a finger in the longest time to do anything or say anything about it. And I guess it started with old Nixon, I suppose, and
Yep.
it's been a downward spiral ever since. But
Well, we
anyway,
know
sorry
where it
about that
really
long
started.
bit. But
It started in backroom deals where the globalists decided that they were going to do a great experiment and turn China into the manufacturing hub of the world because of their population density and the fact that their population, by and large, will do what they're told. And they did. It succeeded. That absolutely succeeded, at least as far as their plans was. It was a great experiment. Now what they're planning on doing is the systems of control they built into the Chinese infrastructure, their hierarchy, their corporate communistic state that they have, which, let's be honest, it's just fascism. That's what it is. They want to spread that to the whole world, where the people at the top have absolute control, period. It's not even debatable. Literally, in China, not even debatable. And they want to do that everywhere. All around the
yeah.
world, they want you to own nothing and thank them for it.
Well, they even say that. That's
Yep.
their 2030 agenda with the UN. You will own nothing and be happy. It's on a poster.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway,
And it's disgusting. And I agree with Kronos here. If Trump had actually, at least, I don't know what Grimlock's doing, but can you mute himself, please?
he's
If
sucking
Trump,
on a straw again.
I don't know what he's doing. Sounds like he's dragging a body. If Trump had actually stepped in legitimately and just said, "Screw it all, send the Navy, send the fleet over," and guarded Hong Kong from the sea, China
Yep.
would have backed off.
Oh, they would have backed off
Guaranteed.
immediately. Yes, they would
Instantly.
have.
It wouldn't even have been a quiet. They would have made some big stink and did all this. Oh, I can't. How dare you? Blah blah. But then they would have backed right the fuck off, and everybody knows it. The whole world knows. China knows it. Everybody in China knows it. But Trump didn't. He pussied out. Is what he did, and he shouldn't be forgiven for that. I don't want him to run for president again because of his failure to protect the people of Hong Kong who deserved our protection. Absolutely, they did.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys,
mean-
go ahead, Grimlock. Give your comment before I move on to the last thing.
I was gonna say like Thundaro said, a lot of this has gone on in the name of money. I mean, we have so many political leaders, if you can call them, who basically cash their checks through the CCP, which has led to a lot of blind eyes to the stuff that they're doing. I mean, so at what point do we have to say we need a massive purge of leadership here to start working out fixing what's going on over there?
Right now.
Yeah, right now, dude.
Right now.
Yeah.
We need the entire bureaucratic state needs dismantled and not rebuilt, destroyed, laid to ruin, and everybody working there, sorry you don't work there anymore. And if you've engaged in any of this illicit activity against the world or against Americans, or your actions have directly led to the deaths of other people around the world, and there's a lot of the bureaucrats in there, well, we have tribunals for you.
Yeah. Well,
Because that's what needs to happen. There needs
I
to
was
be
going
a
to say we have
massive
trees for them.
realignment.
as it
well,
was
that's-
intended by the founders, you mean? No.
Yes. Yes. Thomas Jefferson famously said that every 20 years a country should reinvent itself. There should be a revolution every 20 years because the dead people shouldn't be the ones dictating to the living people how they run their government. It's his words. I paraphrased
True.
it, but that's what he
And,
meant.
yeah, that's true. And Kronos, I'm sorry, dude. No one gives a shit about Canada, man.
God damn.
But no, I think the only solution, long term, to abate China and to abate what's happening here is the federal government has to end. The one we have now. The way it is, the bureaucratic state that never changes, which is about 80% of our actual government, has to go. Has to go. All of it. I don't care if it's the freaking post office. It's got to go. All of it has to go.
It's not supposed to
We don't
exist
need it.
anyway, dude. It's not even
No.
supposed to be there. We
Yes.
are a republic, a united union, a union of states.
We don't need it either. I would say at least 90% of the bureaucracies are completely unnecessary, and the other 10% are only necessary because they exist. If they didn't exist, they wouldn't be necessary either because the states would handle their job. Like people say, what about the EPA? You really think the states are going to allow each other to poison each other with no repercussions? You think that's going to
That's
happen?
ridiculous. EPA is one of the first groups that should go. That's
Yes.
the first department on the list. What are you talking about? If you pay attention to what they do, it's incredible. But anyway,
Yep.
let me move on from this because we could spend all day on this. But it's just, it's I told you so. That's all I have to say. Because I literally covered this exact video in December of 2019. Fuck, dude. Anyway, sorry. I'm moving. I got one more for you. Here we go.
Set video from Captain Marvel, Fury of the Gods, reveals details about Rachel Zegler. Oh, that's a name. Rachel Zegler's character.
Now, this girl, I don't know her. She's very, very, very young, I guess. They said she's 20. She's going to be playing one of the bad ladies. I guess he's fighting the Fates, right? And there's a couple of things in this article. One, if you're dealing with the Fates, why would you hire such a young actress when you have an opportunity to hire some older, more accomplished, capable actresses? Because one thing we do know about the youngsters, they're not that great. Right? Especially these days, they don't put the effort in. So I don't understand why we are hiring such a young girl for that anyway. She might be fine, I suppose. We have a little glimpse of her here, I guess. She's wearing a costume here. She looks so badass and beautiful. Look at her. Okay, fine. Looks like a chick to me.
Looks like the back of a woman's head. How can you say she looks beautiful?
Yeah.
I swear to God, if a woman walks and chews gum at the same time and she doesn't die, she's badass.
I guess so. Yeah. Now,
It's
I don't care too much about that Grimlock because I don't really know who she is or what she's going to be doing or whatever. But the other two sisters are being played by Helen Mirren, okay, and Lucy Liu, all right. So we have a couple of actresses there that can get the job done. Why do we have the 20-year-old exactly? Why? Why wouldn't we get another older woman? Because they are older, the Wicked Sisters, right? We don't need a 20-year-old. So I don't get it. Okay, whatever. That's not the most important thing. The thing I saw in this that I want to talk about is this right here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Now, if you guys recall, in the first movie, people gave this guy, Zachary Levi, a lot of crap for wearing a muscle suit and not getting in shape for it. He complained. He says, "No, I work out. I really do. Look, guys. Look, guys." You remember all that kind of nonsense that was coming out of that? This dude went beyond the pale. He jacked the hell out of himself. Matter of fact, I think he went a bit too far.
Probably.
Look at this.
Yeah, he looks a little shredded.
He looks like a champion now.
He does.
Which is by the way what they should call Captain Marvel, since they won't call him that. They just call him Champion. Way better name. Stop calling him Shazam. It sounds like a brain like a stroke. Like something somebody would mutter when they're having a stroke. Shazam! It's ridiculous. Stop it.
But I just noticed this. He was really embarrassed by the whole suit thing, dude. He was just embarrassed by it. I don't know why. You didn't have to be, dude. It's okay. This was a comedy anyway, guy. It's a comedy, right? But he was embarrassed. I remember those interviews with him, and he really felt you could see it in his face. He was very unhappy with it. So
He was bullied.
he was bullied, I guess. I didn't really think it was a big deal. What I had more a problem was how much money they spent to make those goddamn suits, which was ridiculous.
Yep.
ridiculous amount of money to make those suits.
Hey, so what you're telling me, Chester, is body shaming works?
I guess because
Look at
damn,
him now.
dude, damn,
No,
he doesn't even look like
no.
the same person.
Bring back bullying. Make bullying great again, because it works.
I guess because I mean, damn, dude, you go.
Uh, I mean, you see the results right there. I
You
mean,
do, you do. He
I
busted his
bully
ass.
myself every fucking day. I'm like, listen, fatty, you're getting unfat. Every day, I'm mean to myself about it, and it works. Keeps me motivated.
Yeah.
It works. I know people, but negative reinforcement can cause somebody to kill themselves. Yeah, and
Well,
so can
thin
a
the
heart
herd,
attack at
dude.
40.
It is
Yeah,
called survival of the fittest.
yeah.
Is what
And
it
they
is.
were clearly not fit. I'm sorry to tell you. It's a shame, but it is what it is. So will a heart attack at 42 years old because they
That's
weigh
true.
500 pounds.
That's true.
I'm
Dave
just
says.
saying.
Dave says that's what Gomer Pyle says. Shazam! Hey, dude, I haven't thought
Yes.
of Gomer in a long time, dude.
That's why it's so terrible, because every time that's what I hear. Shazam! Yes, sir. Shazam!
Yeah.
Just call him Champion. It's a better name.
But whatever. I'm happy for him, dude. You go on, Mr. Levy.
He
You've
looks good.
jacked yourself up, and now,
I,
I
I mean,
know some. Go ahead, Gremlin.
it looks great because I mean, had he had stayed with the muscle suit, how ridiculous would that have looked if they'd have finally had him confront Black Adam, knowing what The Rock looks like on the
Right.
trailer?
Well, and the fact that they want to have that, and we all want that to happen. We do want
Yep.
that to happen. And the fact that Dwayne has kept himself in shape, he's kind of gone beyond the pale. His head's getting
Yeah.
kind of small. But what have you? Now give me a more serious movie with him
Mm-hmm.
fighting Black Adam. Ooh, dude,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he's got the look now. This guy looks like he can throw down and he make it look painful, dude.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
I like it. I like it.
He,
Uh,
I
he he
would.
was bullied. He was bullied. He was bullied a boy and came back a man.
that's
Yeah,
right.
that's what happens, though. I mean, hey, that's the truth of it. You know how many people were bullied when they were younger and they go on to be super successful? I would say probably the vast majority of them were the ones
Yeah.
that brought themselves up and made themselves into something. Not they didn't take daddy's money or something. They took themselves up and made, which is about 80% of all millionaires, I believe, is the statistic in America. 80% of them started from basically middle class or lower and made themselves into millionaires through hard work and knowing the right people and blah blah blah. But a lot of them, I bet
No,
you, I guarantee you, I know for a fact, in fact, were bullied when they were younger by somebody, whether
Yeah,
it's
sure.
in school or a family member or whatever, and they just said "fuck you" and they went and did it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. But it's also part of conformity. Captain
Yep.
Thunder would work as well. Yeah, that's
Yep.
true, Ellen. But here's the thing, though. The problem I do see with this is continuing with the same tone of the first movie, which the first half of that movie was fun. That was a good, fun movie. They just all of a sudden said, "All right, we gotta go," and they lost their damn speed control, and they screwed it up in the third act. But
Rushed.
yeah, it was a ridiculously one of the most rushed third
Yeah.
acts I've ever seen. However, the first part of the movie is great fun. But the problem is with this look. Look at his face. Can he pull off the quippy Billy Batson?
Goofy.
Can he do it?
We'll see. We will find out if he can pull it off. He is a pretty good actor and he is pretty funny, so we'll see. I did like the first one a lot. I do agree that the third act was kind of just like, bam, here we go. And that can work sometimes, but it just didn't work in that movie.
No.
And I think the problem here is we know they're trying to build to him and Black Adam. I mean, obviously, right? That they're trying to build to him versus Black Adam at some point. The problem is Billy Batson, the man behind Shazam, is a kid, and he has no one to mentor him without Henry Cavill there. Because who's going to be? Is Black Superman going to mentor him? Is that what we're going to get? Because he needs that something to help him with. Because Black Adam's a full-grown man. Black Adam's the real deal. He ain't messing around. How's this little boy going to handle Black Adam? Well, I'm going to tell you, he's not. That's how he's going to handle Black Adam.
No, Black Adam is not playing around at all, dude.
No.
That is a very serious character, and I'm happy to do it. But the problem is, I don't think the world is going to see that though, because they have chosen Dwayne Johnson to play Black Adam, which I think is a good choice. He can pass
Yes.
as Egyptian. I can. It's believable. But
Yep.
Dwayne, he can do serious stuff, but he much prefers the comedy, and I think he's better at it.
Hmm.
So I think we're going to get more of a comedic thing like we saw before, unfortunately. But it will have much more serious elements, I think,
Yeah.
because the story of Black Adam is a truly tragic one.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not pretty.
it
It's not
ain't
a pretty
pretty at
one at
all.
all.
But I don't know. I'm more interested in seeing the movie now that I've seen old Levy here has decided to get serious about it. So good on you. Look how thick he is too, dude. Look how thick he is in the waist, man. That's
Yep.
power. This dude's he's squatting 500-600 probably, dude. I bet
Oh,
you.
I bet. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, he's pushing up some serious weight now. He definitely. Yeah, I would. He may have even talked to The Rock and be like, "Hey, so what kind of roids? I mean, what's your workout routine? What's your workout routine there, Dwayne?"
He might have. Well, dude, because a lot of dudes who get fit quick for roles, which I have no problem with whatsoever, they're a little bit thin in the waist, right?
Yeah,
Because that's what you get
the
pretty
muscles
quick.
didn't
Yeah,
develop out there.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate the work, but this dude has been putting serious time, dude,
yeah,
serious time. It's kind of like Hugh Jackman from day one when he got the role of Wolverine. He just kept pushing for I don't know, how long was he doing that character and just constantly pushing. And the last Wolverine we got, I mean, that is a man not to be fucked with, dude.
yes, yeah.
Even
No,
though he's a
it's really
soft
good.
shoe, pseudo gay man, he do not mess with that man.
The best thing is about this, as we've said before, you see now. Go back and look at that Resident Evil picture. Go back and look at any of the chicks from
No,
Marvel.
you
Look at all
fine.
these females and how much effort they put into getting ready for their roles on average. But most of them, there have been a couple exceptions, but most of them aren't doing anything physical or training in any way
Oh, not at all.
compared to the men who, by and large, pretty much all of them have kept themselves or gotten themselves in insane comic book shape.
Well, I can
Have
put
you
a.
seen Thor? Have you seen Hemsworth
Oh
for
my
Love and Thunder?
God, dude, he's
He's a
absolutely
monster.
ripped, dude. Cavill, Henry as well. I mean, he's put in some
Yes.
really good work. But I can give you a voice for each one of these girls if you'd like. I'll start with the Korean girl on the left. It's like,
God.
yeah,
Oh Lord.
yeah, I know I'm great. All right, and then we got the little Japanese girl that's like, all right, and then we have the little Jew girl here and the sitting down, and she's like, yeah, I'll fuck you and your mother. All right. And then we got the little pseudo Indian black girl, the Kamala Harris stand in is like, I'm just happy to be here. And then the one on the end is like, huh? Where? What? There you go. There it is. And then on the other hand, we have this dude right here is like, bring it the fuck on.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
He's like, no words. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
No need to talk about it.
Look at how buff he
Just do it.
is, dude. Ah, man, it's been so long since I've been in any kind of shape like that, man. Damn it.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm not going to get that big, but I'm going to get myself in a lot better shape as I
I
eat the
used to be a
steak.
big
It's
bastard,
delicious.
dude. I used to be a big bastard way back in the day. I'm nowhere near that anymore. I have a onesie now where,
I believe you.
Whatever. Let me come back over the other side, guys. But goodness gracious, some interesting things we talked about today. I definitely kind of got to wrap it up. But I don't know, Grimlock. What do you think about the state of entertainment today?
It's pretty freaking miserable.
It is, and the problem
Yeah.
is the world itself is pretty miserable, which is kind of standard, you know. But the entertainment is supposed to be something to get away from the bullshit of life, is it not? Not
Mm-hmm.
anymore. It's educational now,
Yeah,
Grimlock.
it used to be, you don't bring your you don't bring your home bullshit to work, and you don't bring your work bullshit home.
Yeah.
Nope. Now, it's like they don't care.
They don't.
They don't care, but they don't care, but at the same time they want you to care. It's like, no, get that fucking shit out of my face.
Yeah. And more people are telling him that, which is nice. We are seeing a pushback, and it's coming, and finally, it's coming out of the areas that actually could make a difference. Because when a bunch of white people say, "No, I don't want none of your bullshit," it doesn't. They don't care. They don't. It isn't even speed bump. When you start getting what they call them, the people of color, start kind of pushing back against you, that has impact. That
Yeah,
actually has some power.
because nobody wants to see somebody who has more than they do constantly bitch, even if it's justified. So, nobody wants to see a bunch of rich, pampered, privileged people bitch.
True.
That's
Well,
it's just
I am curious, Grimlock. How do you personally feel about being thrown into this general bag of people of color?
Uh-oh.
it's one of the most condescending and insulting things that I think I've heard in my lifetime. It's like I would have more respect for you if you called me that dreaded word that you're not allowed to say, because at least you have some semblance of freaking balls. People of color, it's like, come on.
It is pretty watered down, wet crap, isn't it?
It,
Yeah.
it's a term made for white liberals to feel comfortable about themselves, to be comfortable around people they're clearly not around on a regular basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're
Like
clearly not comfortable around.
when I hear people defend, like when I hear these people defend POCs or shit like critical race theory, I'm like, you've never hung out with a black person a day in your life, have you?
Yeah. Yeah, and and they did it just so they can have white versus the world, is what it is. But and I think, and I'm going to stand up for your Grimlock
Hey,
because I think it's hardly.
I got a solution for that.
Uh-huh.
I got a solution for that. We get in contact with Joe Rogan
Uh-huh.
and we tell him to reboot Fear Factor. And the premise of the new Fear Factor is we're going to take all these white liberal allies and we're going to leave them in black neighborhoods for 72 hours and tell them good luck.
Yeah, with nothing. Not even a cell phone.
No.
Good luck.
Well, you get a Nokia flip phone. That's it.
Oh no, dude! They could throw me in there. I'd be happy. I'd be playing Madden and pulling on a blunt in half an hour, dude. I'd be good.
Well, you're gonna see Joe Rogan. This is Newark, New Jersey. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to defend Grimlock personally because I don't think he should be thrown into a bag of people of color. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but this right here, Grimlock, he is Mabel's second cousin's best friends on his mother's side.
It's funny because the POC thing is so stupid because the whole purpose of it allegedly is to decentralize whiteness. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
By calling everybody who's not white their own term, how are you not still framing everything around the non-whiteness?
Of course.
So effectively, you're framing everything still around white people. You idiot! You actual moron! Just say non-white people. That's what you mean. Just say people who are not white.
Yeah.
That's what you clearly mean.
Yeah. But they didn't, like I said, they're
and
not
the funny
smart
thing
enough to
is-
have an end plan. They're J.J. Abrams.
Yes, exactly.
We should call them Abrams.
And the only black people I have ever heard refer to themselves as POCs are black women on Twitter.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
There is no black people that I know who actually say POC. It's I'm black or black folk. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no.
Just between you and I, Grimlock, we both know the most dangerous thing on earth is a black woman. I mean, come on.
Especially to white people who actually do have white guilt, who a lot of them are good people, but they've been misled and lied to and told that they should feel sorry for things they had nothing to do with. These people are terrified of black women. Terrified.
I got an idea. I have an idea. We can fix the China problem and the black problem at the same time. We send black women to China.
All of them.
Send some of the Asian women over, because
Send about 50 angry fat black women with bonnets over there.
Hell yeah.
Neck rolling and finger snapping.
That's right, dude.
The
That's
Chinese
right.
wouldn't even know what to do. They
It's-
wouldn't know what to
It'll be a
do.
warfare. It is a warfare they have never seen nor prepared for.
It would shut the whole
Yeah,
country down.
it would. They put their combat hats on too. Combat weaves in action, man. Yeah, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh,
Oh
it's a
yeah.
shame too because a decent, well, I say decent, I'm being generous. Some black ladies are black ladies. They're just ladies. They have well, dark brown skin because no one actually has black skin.
Oh, that's not. We're not
Dark
talking about
brown
them.
skin. We're not talking about you, ladies. You can stay. Your sweetheart. You call me honey and sugar and baby. I got no problem with you. You make some good ass food. We got no problem with you. You're good women. You stay. But you other bitches got to go. You got to get out.
Oh my
You
god,
you
dude.
you nagging motherfuckers. You got to go.
It's absolutely true. Uh, yeah, what is it? Tommy Sotomayor. He has this
Oh.
statement. He's like, he says, wherever there are more than two black ladies, I will not be. So,
Oh man.
you don't like
I
Tommy?
don't blame them. I don't blame them.
I see some of his stuff. He's hit or miss with me.
He is.
I
I
tell
mean,
you the one you would like, Chester. The one you would like is Kevin Samuels. You ever seen Kevin Samuels, Chester?
not offhand, no.
He's
Oh god,
he's
we gotta
great.
let him.
He says all the same things that me and Grimlock say about the black females, but he says it right to them. He don't give a fuck.
Well, Tommy's kind of like that too. I think the only thing, the only trouble with Tommy is, I enjoy hearing what he's saying because he literally is trying to bring some truth to the black community. He's literally trying to help. He really is. It's like
Yep.
Officer Tatum as well. It's another dude, another black dude is trying to help. But Tommy, I don't think he likes white people though. I think
I don't
he
either.
is kind of part of that group where but that's
Mhm.
okay. I'm not watching him for myself. I'm more interested in what are the black people thinking. That's more the information he gives. So maybe this other guy is more just neutral American. I don't know. But I think Tommy's interesting, but I think he is a bit of a racist, though.
I would recommend everybody check out Kevin Samuels. That's the name of his channel on YouTube. He does big streams 3 times. I think it's 3 times a week. He has like 20,000 people watching. And by and large, from what I can tell from the way they type and the things they say, it seems to be a bunch of black men and some black women too, because he'll have callers. He has like a call-in show, and black women call and argue with him and call him all kinds of everything, and he just shuts their shit down real quick.
Yeah.
But basically, this guy, what he is he's an image consultant who works with, high-powered men and women, I would assume, but men all over the big business centers to, get their PR images, get them
Right.
looking the way they should. And he just has had enough of people lying to black women. He's had enough of it, and he just lays it out. Not just black women, women in general, but he really focuses on black women because he's a black guy.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think you would get an absolute kick out of him, Chester. I love him. I watch him all the time. I think he's great. He's correct. He's absolutely right. And I think more people need to listen to him.
He got me to watch Bear Grylls season 2. So
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, I think that we kind of make jokes here about all the nonsense coming at it, but I think white dudes in general, for the most part, we just don't give a shit really what you
Yep.
have to say. We'll just go do what we want to do anyway.
Yep.
However, a lot of black dudes are in pretty dire straits, man. In the situation in their culture.
Especially good ones, right? Ones
Yeah.
who are good dudes, who are just trying to build a life for themselves, or hardworking. Maybe they even have really good paying jobs and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want some trifling ghetto trash.
No,
That's not
and
what
this
they
is
want
a
to deal
social
with.
commentary more than it is an economic one. But yeah, having people that are speaking truth to power legitimately, I think that's that's a good thing, dude. So,
Yeah.
which is why I've been watching Tommy Sotomayor for years,
I
because
like
that's
Tommy
what he's
too.
doing,
But I think you're right. I think he has a lot of animosity towards
toward the
white
whites,
folk.
yeah, and
That's
and
okay.
and that's okay.
That's fine.
It's not about us anyway, right?
Nope.
But and I don't mind that so much. I think in the end, for his own personal growth, he needs to get beyond that, right?
Yes.
But yeah, though we're seeing that's the point here. We're seeing an ever growing group of people that are from these various minority groups that
Mhm.
are starting to speak out, and that's good.
It's good.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
It's good because you see, unfortunately, white folk in America, by and large, are so afraid of claiming their own racial identity and their international heritage back to Europe, especially anymore, that the only way this stuff is going to change is when the non-white folks have had enough of it too, and it
That's right.
seems to have finally tipped. And they're just like, this is dumb. We don't care if they're black or if they're Hispanic or
No,
whatever.
no,
We don't
no.
care. We just want good shit to watch. Please,
And
can we
you
get
are
that?
talking about a subset of whites. Most white people in America don't care. One of the things that's very interesting that I've noticed, because I have traveled and lived in many places around the world, is the fact that most every type of people I've ever met, they don't ever think about their color,
Yeah,
ever. It never
correct,
comes into the conversation.
correct.
There might be some cultural points that come up or something like that, but they don't ever it never comes to the mind. However, in
The
the
main
black
problem,
community, it seems as if they're absolutely obsessed with it. It's as if all they think
yeah,
about is color. It
and
seems
it's
this way
because
anyway.
it's been made an issue for so long, both directions, positive and negative, that it's kind of I would say almost a defensive mechanism to do that, to think about your race in more than just a genetic thing that happened to you, right? To
Yeah.
think about it that way as a big thing, and it does matter, absolutely. No one should ever say it doesn't, because it does, but it's not like the end all be all. Whereas white folks in America, and it's been going on for a long time, are constantly attacked in the media, and just subtle things like swapping races and telling you you're not allowed to be upset about it if you're white. And most white people aren't upset about it. They don't really care,
No.
but I think they should. And the reason they should is because these attacks have escalated my entire life. 36 years, they've done nothing but get more and more directed, more and more bigoted, more and more hateful and spiteful.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
true.
going to stop unless white men, I'm talking to the white men, stop it.
Yeah.
We are allegedly we're the most powerful people on the planet. That's what I keep hearing. So why don't we use that power?
Right.
Stand up for each other, based on our race. I know it's ucky and we don't like doing it. I don't like doing it either, but we're going to have to, or these people are going to literally oppress you. That's
Yeah.
what they're after.
Well,
They made no
true.
bones about it.
That is true, but here's the rub though. White people, white men in general, we never
Yeah,
think about it. It seems that at least the majority of the black community seems to always think about it. And what you're
yep,
asking is for them to do the opposite of that. For white people to start thinking about it and black people to
yep.
stop thinking about it in
Not
this regard.
necessarily. I think black people. I don't think it's unhealthy, in my opinion, for their identity to be so heavily focused on the race. I don't think that's unhealthy because it is part of who they
Oh,
are.
well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the
I think we can
hatefulness thing.
do. I think we can do two things at once. I don't see any reason why whiteness, whatever you want to call it, just white people, should ever not be proud. And not just, oh, I'm not ashamed. No, no. Genuinely proud of your heritage genetically. You
Of
should
course
be.
you should be. The whole world is
Absolutely should
living
be.
our heritage right now.
Correct. Every single person on planet of Earth that is alive today, except for a few exceptions, have benefited from whiteness, whether they want to admit it or not, what they call whiteness.
Yeah. Well,
Which
no.
is hilarious that they grant white man so much power that as if we are the creators of all things. And yeah, we did some cool shit, especially the last 700 years or so, but the creators of all things? Like it's all whiteness?
No. But
That's more than I'm even willing to take.
the world is absolutely living in within the cultural heritage of the Albion people, dude. Without question, the clothing we're wearing, the variety of foods, the storytelling,
Yes.
music, all of that is coming out of that.
Yep.
Currently, that's just where the world is right now. However, that's what it always I find ironic when I hear so many of these people come up and say, well, I have no culture, so I don't know what I'm supposed to think or do." It's like, what?
That's what I'm saying.
What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying right there.
What are you
White
talking
people
about?
need to exercise their culture. Now, I'm not talking like we need to be like, oh, like BLM. No, I don't want a WLM to march down the street and cause all kinds of nonsense. But as a society, as a civilization, as a group of people who share a genetic lineage back to Europe, especially in America. There's no shame in that at all. And it's not, in my opinion, it's not enough to say, yeah, I'm not ashamed of it. You should be literally proud of it. You should be. And people out here telling people you shouldn't be proud of things you didn't personally do, that's silly. That's silly. That's a complete abandonment of everything that is Western civilization and Eastern civilization. Ancestor reverence is everywhere. Everywhere. And you should have reverence for where you come from because they're you. That's part of you. Their blood is in your veins.
That's right. And I'm proud of toothpaste, but I didn't make it.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
There's no reason that people who like our boy Grimlock here, he's part Sicilian. Sicilians have done pretty cool stuff. Should he not be proud of that? Should he be ashamed of it because he has whiteness in him? He has that evil whiteness in him.
Did you know that Italy is building a bridge to Sicily?
That's good.
That is good. Do you have an opinion on this at all, Grimlock, or no?
I thought climate change was going to have Italy underwater by now. What?
That's true. It's coming though. Give it time.
Eventually. Eventually they'll be right. Because if you just say eventually, you're always right.
I thought they was gonna be eating pizza in Venice, 10 feet underwater.
I can hear the Sicilian. I can hear it. There it is. There it is. Yeah.
My broader point is white folk that are listening to this, which is probably most of the people here that are still listening. There's no shame in standing up for yourself or your heritage. Do it. Do it now before they destroy all of it. Because they're not going to stop at the Confederates. They're coming for everything. And if you don't stand up to them and stop them, now start to care. I know it sucks. I don't want to care either. But start to care about it. Because if you don't, your grandchildren are going to pay the price, probably in blood, to do it.
Well,
and that's just the truth.
It is true. And the thing, Thundera, is I've already done my job. I am literally the white bastion in this village.
That's right. You've colonized Japan. Good on you.
I've done it.
He's exercising his whiteness. He's colonizing the wombs of Japanese ladies. Yes, this man.
I have. I live in my little kingdom, and I'm the only white person for quite a ways.
I bet. No, that's not true, Chester. You see, the SJWs have decided because they're successful that the East Asians, especially the northern East Asians, like the Japanese, they are white now. You see, they're white as well. They're in the umbrella as well.
I understand, and of course, I get your point. But genetically, they are very close to us. Actually.
I know. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it is time though. I'm way past my time.
Get out of here.
I am going to get out of here. However, that was fun. I enjoyed today's conversation quite a bit. And hopefully Grimlock and you guys enjoyed as well. We will be back tomorrow, and there's actually quite a bit of comic book news to talk about. And a couple of it's actually good, Thundero.
I don't believe you.
We have some happy news.
Don't do that. As Hawkeye once famously said when he was Ronin, without being called Ronin, don't give me hope.
That's fair.
Don't give me hope.
But no, there are a couple of interesting things we're going to talk about tomorrow. But all right, Grimlock, you got anything here you want to say, dude?
I mean, it's been more of the same. It's more of I'm just sitting here wondering how long before they figure it out.
That's true. But, hey, we got each other. We come in here and have chats and just kind of chuckle with it. I hope everyone is independently, personally doing well in their lives.
Yes.
But we're just going to have to ride it out, dude, and we'll see how it all goes. But nevertheless, thank you for joining us. We will be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about comics. And we got a normal week. Next week, we are off, but... we'll see you on this show in 2 weeks on the 27th.
And we will probably, maybe, have some UFO stuff to talk about because the big old report will be out by then.
I think so. And they're really gearing up, dude. There's so much buzz. It's crazy. So hopefully we'll have something neat to talk about then. Anyway, go ahead and take us out of here, Thunder.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is June. Everywhere in the world is the 6th month of the year, probably the prettiest month of the year, maybe besides October. And just enjoy it. Go outside, get some of that beautiful sunlight, that magic that we call the sun. It just makes you feel better. If you're down, if you're having a bad time, I was out in it all day today, and I just felt good. It just feels good.
Yeah, it's called
Go enjoy being alive and enjoy the miracle that is our world. Because you know what? The people in it are pieces of crap, but Earth is amazing. And enjoy it.
Namaste. Later, guys.
Bye.
Really need to get that Howard Cosell ending worked out, dude.